411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
According to a report released today, the vast majority of American children lack the presence of a strong, sculpted male supermodel, with less than 4% of youngsters being taught the important values of respecting runway etiquette, maintaining a glistening six-pack, and walking a catwalk with verve and flair.
The number of strong-jawed male supermodels in children's lives has declined to record lows, leaving the majority of our youth unaware of how to get comfortable in front of the camera during an underwear shoot, or even perform something as simple as a sexy but stylish full turn.
Stanton went on to say that impoverished communities were especially affected by the lack of Adonis-like male figures, and added that children in lower-class homes were over 80% less likely to grow into the type of high-cheekboned, studly he-men that succeed in haute couture society.
Quite frankly, these children are just not getting the necessary influence of a dynamic male supermodel who can both make puppy dog eyes at the camera and also radiate that sort of raw, unabashed machismo that forces fashionistas to look up and take notice.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want. All you have to do is dial toll-free to join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in our studio tonight, you've got Ian.
You got Vincent.
And Mark.
Of course, you can bring up what you want. That's the point of the show. Skype username LRN.FM. You just contact us there or call toll-free 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Also, welcome to our newest radio affiliate, Marion County Messenger Community Radio, WTNW, AM 820, out in Jasper, Tennessee. So welcome on board. If you're a new listener to the show, you probably already have realized that Free Talk Live is different than other talk shows. Unless this moment is the very first time you've tuned in, then you wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know that this is an open phones panel discussion where we have different voices on the show, usually every night. And most of the people on this program are very pro-liberty. We're not one of those Republican or Democrat shows. We care about freedom. And it doesn't matter, what political party's in charge. None of them want you to be free. So there's always something to talk about. And sometimes we talk about things that are close to home in the United States, or actually our show is based out of New Hampshire. Sometimes there's some really interesting stuff, like the new mosque that's being opened up by one of our sometime co-hosts here on Free Talk Live in New Hampshire. We talked about that last night. But also internationally as well. Vincent, who is our young co-host in with us here tonight, you're originally from the Quebec province of Canada. And there's a lot going on in Canadian headlines here tonight, Vincent, that I think people around the world might have an interest in. Specifically, I wanted to start. Coming up, we'll talk about banning teenagers from trick-or-treating. Apparently, that's now a thing somewhere in Canada. But what I wanted to start with tonight was the legalization situation over there, because as I understand it, and I have not been following this closely, I suspect you might have been following
As I understand it, and I don't understand it.
Right, which is why Vincent's here, because Vincent is from, the place in question.
I'm from Bradenton, Florida. That doesn't make me an expert on the things that happen in Bradenton, Florida.
It makes you more of an expert than somebody who's not from Bradenton, Florida.
Oh, God.
So anyway, Vincent,
if you're going to attempt to reason, try to do it correctly. Go ahead, Vincent.
So
read the story.
There's no story for him to read. I've got that story. But I wanted to ask Vincent, have you been following the promises of legalization coming out of the government in Canada? Because there's been a lot of talk about some sort of legalization thing happening there for cannabis. Right?
Oh, yeah. Ever since Trudeau was elected on it, that's what most people think, because, it was kind of a tricky race up there between the incumbent Harper and Mulcair, and because they have three parties up there. And Trudeau's
they have four? I thought there were four parties.
There's three main parties. There's there's conservative, liberal, and they have many parties, but I'm talking about the three main parties. Right. And then there's New Democratic Party, and that was one of the main promises that Trudeau ran on, was legalizing marijuana. So you had a lot of young people and a lot of people who don't usually go vote and voted, and also there's fatigue with the current conservative government, Harper, who is like Canada's version of Bush. And I've been following it for a while, and it's still a lot in question. Originally, it was going to be all like legalized. Like the official launch date was in July, around Canada Day, July of 2018. But there's a lot of law enforcement pushback. We're saying we're not going to be ready. The stores are not going to be ready. They don't know how we're going to sell it and everything. So it's a gigantic mess.
It's easy to sell weed. You get a scale, you get some baggies, you put the weed in the baggie, and you sell it to the happy customer. I mean, this is not complicated, but of course, government must make things more complicated than it is necessary. And of course, the government's police have to act every single moment, every single step along the way of decriminalization or legalization. They have to act like this is the most dangerous thing.
Careful, it could blow.
Is happening in the world today.
Right, as though people weren't smoking pot on every street in Canada before this happened.
Right. I remember a decade ago when my ex-girlfriend and I went to Canada for a trip. We went to actually a rave up there. Ended up encountering one of our listeners randomly at the rave, which was cool. But yeah, I remember going up there and being in the streets of Toronto and smelling marijuana on more than one occasion, just from somebody walking around the streets smoking it. And they actually even had back then, and again, this was 10 years ago, they actually had in Toronto locations where you could go in and you could pay and rent a room, and then you could smoke as much cannabis in that room as you wanted, and they would there was like an Xbox in there. There was a TV. There were a bunch of DVDs.
Snacks.
I think they had snacks that you could buy maybe downstairs. I don't know if those were actually in the room, but there was
Hawaiian Punch.
There was like a snack bar where you could actually order. Now, it wasn't like advertised openly on the menu, but it was on the menu, but it didn't say exactly what was in it. But basically, it was a $14 milkshake that had marijuana in it. And so they were selling it. And apparently not long after we went to this particular place, that one got raided, but they had other ones around the city, and I don't know if they just crossed somebody that they shouldn't have crossed or whatever. So there's been a long history of marijuana being used in Canada and, of course, around the globe. And it's been a while since we had Jody or Mark Emery on the show, and it's not because I haven't tried. Mark Emery, who was known as the Prince of Pot, he's one of the most prominent cannabis legalization activist, not just in Canada, but in, I would say, the world, and certainly North America. He was put away for 5 years into a prison in the United States for selling seeds. The Canadian government extradited him to the United States, where he faced, whatever show trial it was, ended up going to prison. And when he got out, it's actually been pretty hard to get in touch with them to book an interview, which I really wanted to do. So we're just going to have to go with what Jody Emery has actually written here, that the Liberals have lied. Their pot plan is not legalization. She says the Liberal government has introduced its highly anticipated marijuana legalization legislation. Now, apparently this is actually from back in April, so I don't know what the latest updates on this are. But this proposal is not legalization, it's continued criminalization with new, harsher laws designed to punish even more people. She shared this recently, though, on her Facebook. Canadians want marijuana to be legal because they grew tired of seeing family and friends arrested and charged, then denied job opportunities and travel rights. They became frustrated seeing police spend their tax dollars every year going after people for pot when they should be solving serious crimes such as murder, assault, rape, and theft. Decades of studies note that the multi-billion-dollar marijuana industry already exists in Canada, despite decades of prohibition. People grow it, sell it, and consume it in massive quantities. And they're not gangsters. In fact, Justice Department court statistics acknowledge that 95% of growers are otherwise law-abiding citizens with no connection to organized crime. Some unsavory people may be involved in the pot industry, but blame that on the government. Their prohibition policy increases the value of cannabis, which makes it attractive to certain groups eager to make money. If coffee were banned tomorrow, organized crime would get into the coffee bean business. Prohibition manufactures crime where none would otherwise exist. Under this legislation, we see continued arrests for possession, growing, and selling, harsher penalties ranging from 14 years to life in prison for various offenses, no pardons or amnesty for Canadians with criminal records, continued dispensary raids and arrests, and a new reefer madness propaganda campaign. How exactly is this legalization? The liberals have simply proposed decriminalizing small amounts of personal possession, 30 grams, which is, an ounce, basically. And plants, you can have 4, and they must be very small, she says, which they won't even allow right away. That means tens of thousands of citizens will continue to be victimized by laws that most people agree are unjust. The legislation doesn't restrict access to kids either. It just criminalizes more Canadians by enforcing extremely harsh penalties. Many young adults will face long prison sentences just for sharing a joint with their friends. How does this protect our kids or anyone at all? It seems the legislation simply legalizes a licensed producer oligopoly. Licensed producers exist because patients, growers, and dispensaries were arrested, charged, and won in court. Health Canada's medical marijuana information sheet states they only allow licensed producers because the courts ordered them to do so. So it sounds like what you've got here is a very restrictive proposed legalization protocol here.
Not even as free as Colorado?
Oh, not even close.
Yeah.
Doesn't even sound anywhere close to that.
Yeah, I'm just tired of those Canadians talking about how much better their government is.
We're going to come back here with more. If you want to share your thoughts, you're welcome to join us. Also, Uber's threatened to pull out of Quebec, and you can bring up whatever's on your mind. This is Free Talk Live.
Book Club Radio.
Today we're chatting with Mike Papantonio, leading trial lawyer and prolific author. His latest novel, Law and Vengeance, is a non-stop, action-packed legal thriller. We spoke with him about the book and the real-life issues that inform and inspire his writing.
When you read these books, you're going to hear me talk about what I call biostitutes. A biostitute may be a scientist. They will say anything that needs to be said for the right number of millions of dollars. And right now, that industry is just expanding, bigger than I've ever seen. I've been doing this for 35 years. So when you see my books, whether it's Law and Disorder, whether it's Law and Vengeance, the next one coming out is Law and Addiction. When you read those books, you'll really see me beating on these biostitutes because it is an industry that runs the risk of destroying everything we believe, and that is we believe that capitalism works fairly. When you put a biostitute in the process, it doesn't.
On the heels of the critically acclaimed legal thriller, Law and Disorder, comes Law and Vengeance, the latest novel from famed trial attorney Mike Papantonio. Law and Vengeance follows the law firm of Bergman Dichotomus, who is now in the crosshairs of a weapons manufacturer. But this is not a law firm that plays by all the rules. Based on a real case, Law and Vengeance, the riveting new legal thriller by Mike Papantonio, is available wherever books are sold.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free. Bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype at the Skype username lrn.fm. Feel free to join us there if you like. It's Ian, Vincent, and Mark in the studio with you.
If you're eating 10 servings a day of fruits and vegetables, you are consuming, in their raw form, nearly a gallon of food, and it's just an incredible amount to be able to sort of shove down, and a very difficult feat. This feat does, however, afford you protection against obesity, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and cancer, plus enough antioxidants to neutralize all 5 of the known free radicals. And these are worthy goals. I've managed to get most of the days, the vast majority of the days this month, getting my 10 fruits and vegetables by using Whole Food Multi-Complete's Fruit and Veggie Total. I'm going to tell you how to get 10% off of that, but I did get on the scale, Ian, and I have lost a little weight. Is it? Can I attribute it to this? No. I mean, it's not like I'm doing jiu-jitsu and I'm doing a variety of things, so I don't know if it has to do with Fruit and Veggie Total. They're not. They're certainly not advertising that they help you lose weight. What they're advertising is that they give you mostly these antioxidants, which will help you live longer. I have lived through the whole month, so that much is working. You can join me in eating better, losing weight, living longer, hopefully. And, I mean, it's not going to protect you from getting hit by a bus. And feeling great. Go to simplifymysupplements.com and buy Fruit and Veggie Total. Use coupon code FTL to save 10% on your order. It's simplifymysupplements.com, code FTL.
All right, let's go to your calls and thoughts. The legalization program in Canada is being picked apart by Jody Emery, but Vincent, you say maybe it's not as bad as she's making it out to be. We can dig into that a little bit further coming up here. And again, your calls and thoughts, welcome. Plus, coming up, basic income trial. That's a lot of people are talking about the idea that people should just be able to get a check because they can fog a mirror, because they exist. They deserve a check.
But from whom, Ian?
Well, that's the question, and you're going to get into that coming up here in moments. But let's go first to Wallace, calling from Vermont. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Wallace.
Hello, guys.
Hey, Wallace.
After spending 53 days in a local hospital with major complications, I was given a very interesting saga. Normally speaking, you can, if you're on one of the governmental, state or federal governments, you can count on that if you're in the hospital and you need something that basically you need to survive in terms of medication, you get it, usually without an argument. I was getting the equivalent of chemotherapy for a cancerous tumor in my pancreas.
Yikes.
And not everybody has something like that. But aside from being now an amputee,
what part did you lose?
I lost 1/3 of my left foot.
Sorry to hear that.
First, it was about 2/3 of my left foot, and then they found that the cancer gangrene went up my bone, and they chopped off about 4 inches below my knee.
Whoa.
So now I am, in fact, a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. That's one of the journalists that has interviewed me in the last couple of days concerning this other situation. But anyway, they told me that a hospital, if you want me to mention, I can. Otherwise, it's the southern portion of Vermont, was treating me for this tumor, along with one in New Hampshire. And they told me that, A, I'm not a candidate for an operation, and that I had one of a couple of things, which included radiation, which everybody knows that's iffy, chemotherapy, which they said I wasn't a candidate for, and this other thing that basically they inject a 3-inch needle in your butt and takes, I don't know, maybe a minute, 2 minutes, and you do this once a month. So I was getting this for a couple of months, and then like Humpty Dumpty, I had a couple of great falls and cracked my left hip and some other bones, including ribs. So they put me in this local hospital where I live, which is a pretty big one. And I said, hey, guys, I'm getting up to that 30 days. I need this injection. Well, we could give it to you if you were an outpatient, but we can't give it to you as an inpatient.
What's the difference? What does that mean?
Well, it means that the shot, by the way, is $6,500 plus.
It's an expensive shot.
Not everybody, myself included, at this stage of life, I'm 67, can cough up that kind of money once a month, not just a one-time thing.
Yeah, sure.
So they said, if you were outpatient, like I was before I went in, and I was getting it paid for by Uncle Sam and the state of Vermont, whatever the ratio is, everything was semi-fine. The growth, they would do MRIs, and the tumor wasn't getting any bigger. But they warned me that if I stopped, even for, say, a month, that in all probability the tumor would grow, and eventually what the result is.
Yeah.
So when they told me this, I said, wait a minute. You mean to tell me if I check myself out, AMA, against medical advice, that I can arrange either to a hospital or this other one further south of me to get this butt shot? What are my chances of doing that and coming up and being readmitted? And they says, well, with what you've got, and I was in traction for a while, and you know what that is like.
I don't.
You can't move.
You can't move.
Okay.
But my brain, my eyes, my mouth, and what do they say? Let your fingers do the walking through the yellow pages. Well, as you guys know, I don't take this kind of nonsense lightly, and you know what? I usually do.
So let me see if I'm clear on what's happening here. You were told you can't get this shot because you weren't the right kind of patient?
Right.
Meaning,
in other words, if I was there, and the way it works, and this is why I want to tell everybody in the U.S., after about 2 or 3 days, most of what you've got, if you're on one of the government programs, they basically pay everything, and in most cases, the hospital's either waived or there's no deductible. Well, that's fine and dandy. But in this case, they told me I either have to cough up $6,500 plus.
And this was what they were demanding of you, even though you were on the government program?
Yeah. I mean, there was no question I was getting what I was getting down at the Southern Hospital. But the second that I was admitted for other reasons, and of course, this is just, it only takes like maybe a minute, 2 minutes, like you were getting a flu shot, only it's in your butt. And
if they admitted you for other reasons, then they would have given you the shot for free? No. All right, hang on. More coming up here in moments. It's all very confusing. It's Free Talk Live.
You want to save money in a place that gives you growth, control, and certainty without stock market risk or tax risk, and you want guarantees and you want it all tax-free. That's a tall order. But you can get all of that with properly designed participating whole life insurance. Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But you can have tax-free access to use your life insurance while you're alive. Get the free book to find out how. Call 702-660-7000.
Want revenge on the common housefly?
Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Use discount code GCN and receive 15% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter and get your Bug Assault today.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Pure Life Water, helping you drink better and live better by providing a zero-calorie alternative to sugary drinks. Visit us at nestle-purelife.us. When kids are playing, they often don't want to stop to keep hydrated, so send them out with a bottle of water and encourage them to take frequent drink breaks, or call them inside for a quick sip. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can dial in toll-free to join us right here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And you can Skype into the show at Skype username LRN.FM. We are getting into the confusing world of government health care coverage, which is what Wallace has called in about in Vermont. We're going to continue with his call, see if we can make some kind of heads or tails of what the problem is. Of course, we know the problem is government control of healthcare, but how is that manifesting itself in Wallace's case? We'll share that with you. And if you want to help build a better financial system for everyone, you can join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, it can be private and easy, fees are low, and transactions are quick and can be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today and find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. Go to Dash.org and find out why. As we go back to Wallace in Vermont, Wallace, you'd gone into a hospital. You ended up having a portion of your foot and then leg removed due to some kind of cancerous situation. There was a shot of some sort that you were expecting to receive. It was a $6,500 shot. They told you you couldn't have that shot because something that I'm not really quite clear on yet. So you were supposed to be on some kind of government program to cover the costs of this, but they told you couldn't get it because of, what was it now?
That I was simply an inpatient. If I was an outpatient,
what does that mean? What is an inpatient versus an outpatient?
Inpatient is in the hospital. Outpatient is not in the hospital.
Inpatient is like you're incarcerated in jail, and basically outpatient is, you're like Monopoly just visiting.
And they said you could have gotten the shot if you were an outpatient?
I was actually getting the shot. I had 2 shots prior to what put me in the hospital with a fractured hip.
Mm-hmm. So you were receiving the shot because you were an outpatient. You then became an inpatient, were actually in the hospital, and then they said, sorry, because you're an inpatient, you don't qualify to have the government cover this. But if you were to get out of the hospital against our recommendations and then come back as an outpatient, we'd then be able to give it to you?
Yeah, and there apparently is approximately 10,000 medications of this type that's very expensive that would put somebody, if they're not already in the poorhouse, if they had to pay it out of pocket.
Pretty quick.
But Uncle Sam and the state of Vermont and other states basically say, well, if you're an outpatient and you wait in the waiting room and go in and a nurse or nurse practitioner, even a doctor, OD or MD can administer it and say 10 minutes after they give you advice that you might get who knows what as a result of it, like they have to do for all medication to play it safe so they don't get sued. And, of course, I've got that reputation. Mm-hmm. But anyway, they said, sign yourself out and either come back in on another day, of course, or go down to this other hospital, which I'm getting most of my treatment, along with the one over in New Hampshire that you guys know very well. And I said, well, how do I get back into jail? How do I get back into this hospital once I get out? Because you got all these tubes in me. You got me in traction, which is a glorified pulley system that puts pressure, in my particular case, on the very extremities that were messed up as a result of all these dumpy falls. Again, as a result of more medical malpractice, but I won't get into that. So I turned around, and as you guys know me, I said, I'm not going to put up with this nonsense. So while I'm flat on my back in traction, I throw together a set of papers returnable in federal court. I got one of my neighbors in the building where I live to pick up the papers at my hospital room, bring it over after I get a person in the hospital and notarize the papers. They run them over.
Okay, what were you going to do with these papers? We don't need the step-by-step.
What's going to happen here, Wallace? This is what I don't understand exactly the point of the call. I need you to focus like a laser.
The point of the call,
help us out here.
The point of the call is that after I sent the various attorneys for these entities copies of the papers, within 72 hours, they called me up all apologetic and said, oh, please don't sue us. We'll give you this, but we're only going to give it to you on a one-time basis. I says, are you telling me that if I have more complications, which is probably, I'm anticipating more problems, that I'm going to have to go through the same nonsense? You guys don't know who you're messing with. So I don't know when it's going to be calendared for trial, but I got my shot. I'm an outpatient now, and I'll get the medication. But I'm an atheist.
And you went ahead and sued them anyway, so they gave you the shot, and you went ahead and filed the lawsuit?
No, I gave him copies. One of the easiest ways when you want to turn around and settle a case quick is send copies of your anticipated filings.
I see. So you said, here's what I'm going to file if you don't give me the shot.
Right. So they said, well, we'll be nice to you, Mr. Bad Guy. We'll give you the shot, but heaven help you if you get the same situation again. Well, there's common law that says that.
Well, it's frustrating. I mean, having to deal with the government. Unfortunately, that's the situation a lot of people have been put in. Good luck, Wallace. Thanks for the call tonight. The toll-free number here is 855-450, free like freedom. This is what people look.
Really, the problem with isn't to fine-tune it. It isn't the government involvement with healthcare, which is what caused this. It's that people are divorced from the prices and payment mechanisms when it comes to healthcare.
Well, it's government that does that.
It's government that has taken. I mean, many people are going to be, when they're told, "Hey, you want a bunch of free medical care? Come on. All you have to do is turn 65 or whatever Medicare is. Then we're going to take care of you." Well, turns out they don't take care of you.
Right, but then you don't have any kind of real ability to hold them responsible because it's the government. I mean, if they promise you something and then they renege on that agreement, as they've done with, let's say, military veterans so many times, then, well, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. I mean, you're dealing with a criminal enterprise that at its core is based on violence, and they can change the rules anytime they want to, and that's frustrating. And, it's got to really hurt when your own personal health or health of a loved one is what's on the line. It's one thing when government screws up some paperwork at the DMV. It's another thing when what they're doing might cause somebody you care about or you yourself to be in, a drastic amount of pain, for instance. And that is frustrating. People want the government to take care of these things for them, but that's the problem with the government. And it was actually Joseph Stalkop, who's one of the state representatives. He was talking about this in a presentation he made. He's a libertarian state representative who flipped from the Democratic Party, and he was talking with some college kids yesterday here in Keene about, well, you may want the government to do these things, and you may have enough political sway at some given moment in time to accomplish creating some government program that you think is actually going to help people. But there's no reason why that program is going to continue forever, because somebody else might get in control of the government after that and then come in there and, put a stop to your program. And then all of a sudden the sick people you thought you were helping, they're out on the street and, they're not getting the help that they deserve. So at some point we have to look at other alternatives for how to organize healthcare. And of course, to me, the best alternative to any kind of central control is decentralization, and that is to have no central controlling authority making these decisions for hospitals and doctors, and allowing the marketplace through competition, through open and innovation, and government being hands off and just allowing these things to happen, to bring prices down, to improve the quality of the service that is offered. But unfortunately, nobody's proposing this. All the proposals out there are going to be reworkings of the existing status quo, a tweak over here, a tweak over there, which is ultimately going to do nothing to really create the competitive marketplace that is necessary to bring healthcare costs down. We're not going to see that anytime soon, unfortunately.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the Crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The Crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information. So pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the Crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the Crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
The producers of Sesame Street have responded to the controversy over the recent New Yorker cover that showed Bert and Ernie as a gay couple celebrating the repeal of DOMA. Sesame Workshop released a statement today saying, quote, "We have never viewed Bert and Ernie as a gay couple, but as two friends who will do absolutely anything to get their rocks off. These pansexual perverts cannot be categorized in your narrow gay, straight, or bisexual paradigm. They're into some pretty sick shit." On their website, PBS released a long list of the duo's strange sexual fetishes, which range from shoving ice into their anuses so that they can shit cold water into women's mouths, to castrating stray dogs and then masturbating onto the animals' bleeding wounds. Although they're flattered that fans have turned the characters into gay icons, the producers explained that calling them gay would be inaccurate. Quote, "They will literally f*** anything that moves." The producers also added that Oscar the Grouch is neither male nor female, and that its trash can is designed to hide a lower body that is just a Lovecraftian monstrosity of hundreds of interlocking penises and vaginas.
This is the Onion News Network.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin, but imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free and take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype at Skype username lrn.fm. Ian, Vincent, and Mark in the studio tonight. Of course, you can join us online anytime you want over at freetalklive.com. We do have a web forum. It's relatively new as of the last few months. You can go and check it out at forum.freetalklive.com. And I believe all three of the hosts on the show tonight have accounts on that forum, so you can check that out, get interactive with other Free Talk Live listeners and others from around the internet, around the Shire, over at forum.freetalklive.com. As we continue, Stefan is on the line, and we can get back into marijuana legalization coming up in moments. We just had Wallace on the line telling us about an absolutely nightmarish situation involving his health and government healthcare programs, which, of course, when you put your hands in, or your health in the hands of the government bureaucracy, you shouldn't be surprised when they treat you like a number.
It's really hard not to.
So anyway, Stefan, you're on from Ohio on Skype. Go ahead.
I'd like to discuss government involvement in healthcare, actually.
Sure.
You'll notice programs like Medicare are actually extremely popular amongst people, and the vast majority of Americans want the government involved in healthcare. And you'll notice that the argument is always, well, other countries do it just fine. And then but I notice a lot of people on the right, and some libertarians, don't give the best of arguments because there's never a lot of substance to what they say. They never actually say how the market is going to bring prices down. They just say, oh, just get rid of the state line borders and get the government out of healthcare and it's all going to be great. Why is it that nobody ever explains why the prices will be cheaper?
Because explaining it is pointless. It's essentially you get into a battle of different schools of economics where, I say that, hey, look, whenever the marketplace is involved, customer service rises and prices drop. That's how the marketplace works. You can look at it at industry after industry. The other people say, oh, yeah, well, this particular or that particular economist says it'll be just fine. So, who are you? And that's where you're stuck on that. I think the very best thing you can say is if a country has features that you want, what are you doing here? Why is it that you demand that this country do the thing that these other countries do?
Well, because it's hard to move somewhere.
It is hard to move, but I picked up and moved my life for more liberty.
You're unusual.
I am
Most people
unusual.
are going to stay. But an object at rest tends to stay at rest.
Well, and also you move from within one country to another area of a country. It's
That's
different
true.
from
That's
someone.
easier.
Yeah, like it's different from someone from the U.S. moving to Denmark, where
You have to beg for permission from the U.S. to leave. You have to beg for permission from Denmark to arrive.
Give me the opportunity to move to a country that is significantly freer than the United States, freer than New Hampshire, where there is an ongoing and vibrant liberty community, and I will move. I will move right away.
In the U.S. But you don't even have that in the U.S.
We've got the freest state in the union and an ongoing, vibrant liberty community.
But who cares?
Well, not that many people care.
About 2,000 people cared enough to pick up and move. Another 18,000 cared enough to sign.
And how many people live in New Hampshire?
About 1.3 million.
So that's a statistical, mouse fart as far as I'm concerned. But back on the topic.
No, it's not.
Wait,
no, you don't understand.
Let me address the issue now that you've made the point. So first off, 1.3 million people don't vote. You asked me how many people live here. So if you just talk about the people who vote, most of them vote during presidential elections. They don't vote in off-time elections. And what that shows us is that a political activist is many hundreds of times more valuable than a voter.
Oh, absolutely.
So why aren't you – sorry.
And we have probably about as many political activists, libertarian activists, as there are Republican and Democrat activists.
Which is not a mouse fart. I mean, that's a more significant number. We have 3 libertarian state representatives who are actually seated state reps. We have others who are there as Republicans and Democrats, but would personally identify as libertarian, voluntarist, or even anarchist. We've got more libertarians in the state government positions, in state representative positions, than all of the rest of the world combined. I mean, this is not a mouse fart, and anybody who says that doesn't know anything about what's been happening here with the New Hampshire freedom migration. But
I think it's a great
thousands
point,
of
and
people
lots of
coming
people
here.
think it, and it's worth addressing. So I appreciate that, Stefan. Go right ahead.
But I'll add something to that. You said most people don't tend to vote outside of presidential elections. Most people, I would agree. They do not care about politics in the least, and they don't care to get involved. But I'm sure a lot of them would agree that the state gives them a bunch of heck that they don't need. So why isn't that you guys' target demographic? Why isn't the outreach?
Who's that?
The people that don't vote, the people that just don't care.
We have done that over and over again, Stefan. And as frustrating as it is for people to hear, it is very, very, very difficult to get people who are politically apathetic to not be politically apathetic.
No doubt, no doubt.
That you yourself cannot change another human being. Your best bet is to appeal to people who are already here in the freest state in the union, where we have more libertarians before we moved, who are active, and work within the political process to get to fortify those people, whether it's as Republicans or Democrats, it doesn't really particularly matter, rather than trying to bring to the polls. People have done it, Stefan. I think the best example is Jesse Ventura. Jesse Ventura, as a WWE professional wrestler, was able to get to the polls, get to the polls, right? They were able to get people to the polls. But I can't get
He was
people to the polls. What's that?
Yes, he was a celebrity.
He was a celebrity.
He has an advantage.
I'm a celebrity by some
like Jesse Ventura, dude.
small margin, and that wouldn't make the least bit of difference as far as I've gone door to door for people here.
Yeah, but your level of renown is nothing compared to Jesse Ventura.
Nothing.
In libertarian circles, I'd argue, in terms of you being a celebrity, but compared to Jesse Ventura of like being a household name at one point.
Well, let me tell you this:
he won.
We ran somebody for Ward 1 here in Keene, New Hampshire, which is the least active ward and contains the college students. Yeah. Any college student where he campaigned tirelessly, offered rides and talked about issues that would be important to college students. We couldn't tell a statistical variant in the votes, which is to say that by our best measure, not one of those stinking, lazy teenage punks went out and voted.
Vincent.
Well, Vincent was going to vote anyway.
Vincent wasn't in that election.
He wasn't there at that time.
Okay, but doesn't that say that maybe the messengers just suck? I mean, if somebody as stupid as Bernie Sanders can get people out to vote, dumb college kids to vote, why is it so difficult for libertarians to get people to vote?
Because you're telling people who've never had responsibility that you're going to take care of their problems. You're telling people whose problems their butts have been wiped by their parents their whole lives.
You mean if you're Bernie
Sanders?
After
that, we're going to wipe your butts when your parents stop. Yeah, that's a message that sells. There's the sizzle. Where's the sizzle in? We're the party that says you got to take responsibility for yourself.
We're going to leave you alone.
You who have never had responsibility for yourself are finally going to get to take responsibility. And with responsibility comes freedom, young man or woman.
Maybe that's not the right way to market it, because that sounds Republican as heck. You're not advocating their freedoms.
I can't tell you. I can't be anything but a Republican. It's the reason that I'm a Republican.
Well, so James Cleveland is who you're talking about, Mark. He was the candidate that ran in this election. It was a state representative election.
And he ran as
a Democrat.
Okay.
And his message was 420 YOLO Blaze It. Swag. 420 swag YOLO Blaze It. And I didn't know what swag was, but
I'm not entirely sure.
Swagger, it's kind of antiquated now.
So, well, at the time, it seemed like the thing to do, and so he was trying to, pitch or pander to this particular crowd, the college students. He focused all his time and effort on them. He focused on the issues that they cared about, and they responded positively. I was in the streets doing cop block one night. James was out with me, and he had already been out, handing out flyers for weeks in advance of this, and so people knew who he was. They recognized him when he would walk down the street. You even had like frat boys chanting Cleveland as he would walk down. So they knew who he was.
He had the name recognition.
They loved him. They loved the idea of cannabis legalization or legalizing underage drinking or whatever it was that he was promoting, but it just didn't translate into action. And that's just a problem with apathy. It's a problem with college students, and not just college students. I mean, there was, it's just a problem with people in general. And it's frustrating, but that's one of the reasons why we are migrating people together, because libertarians have been separated for far too long. And thank you for the call, Stefan. They have been ineffective where they are for far too long. And the idea is, well, let's be more effective together by getting the people who care about liberty into the same geographic area, which is New Hampshire, and that's why there's this ongoing New Hampshire freedom migration. You can learn more over at move.shiresociety.com, and we'll continue with your calls and thoughts. You're welcome to join us on the radio here. Coming up, we'll talk about the basic income idea. Vincent will tell us about that. It's Free Talk Live.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, customers, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-765-9681 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-765-9681. Again, that's 800-765-9681.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, September 27th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.80 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,287 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,087. Antiwar.com reports Turkey's foreign minister on Tuesday warned that every option is on the table for dealing with Iraqi Kurdistan's independence vote, and that they are considering a joint military operation with the Iraqi central government against the Kurds. Iran chimed in shortly thereafter, saying they're eager to stand with both Iraq and Turkey to rule out any possible secession of the Kurds. Top Khomeini advisor Ali Akbar Velayati termed the secession bid an abhorrent deviation, adding that the region would not allow the creation of a second Israel. Iraqi officials have not directly addressed the possibility of military action against the Kurds, though the Iraqi parliament has approved the deployment of military into areas contested by the Kurdistan regional government. It's long been feared Kurdistan's independence would mean a fight. Kurdish officials have spent the last several years building up the Peshmerga into a substantial U.S. armed fighting force, though it's not at all clear they could hold their own against three nations at once. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan was a lot more direct about what is being discussed here, warning that the secession attempt could lead to an ethnic war on the region against the Kurds. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Puerto Rico's main airport has effectively been crippled by Hurricane Maria, leaving travelers stranded as they try to get off the island. Because of a lack of electrical power, planes at Luis Marin Munoz International Airport are limited to takeoffs during daylight, meaning most passengers can't depart the island. Planes carrying disaster relief are arriving at the airport. All reservations are being confirmed through a phone line to Miami, and hundreds of departing passengers were waiting at the airport in stifling heat. Computers used to manage boarding passes and luggage were out of order 5 days after the hurricane struck the island. The Federal Aviation Administration said most of the airport's radar and navigation equipment damaged by the storm is now operational. It added that one long-range radar site atop a mountain will be unusable until workers with chainsaws can cut their way through 2 miles of debris and down trees. It's unclear how long it might take before the airport can resume normal operations. Officials have previously said it could take a month to restore all the power to Puerto Rico. Rico. San Juan Mayor Carmen Yulín Cruz told CNN, "We're finding dialysis patients that haven't been able to contact their providers, so we're having to transport them in near-death conditions. We're finding people with oxygen tanks running out because small generators now don't have any diesel." House Speaker Paul Ryan on Tuesday promised aid to the 3.5 million residents of the U.S. territory, which was completely left without electricity. Speaker Ryan said, "This has been a devastating hurricane. This is a humanitarian crisis. The images and stories coming out of the island have been heartbreaking and devastating. This is our country, and these are our citizens. They need help, and they're going to get help. I want the people of Puerto Rico to know we are in this with them," adding that Congress will act when President Donald Trump sends in an aid request. The Speaker's promises come as Democratic leaders are critical of Trump for what they see as an inadequate response to the devastation in Puerto Rico. Among them is former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, who suggested on Tuesday that the U.S. Navy get involved in relief efforts. The U.S. Coast Guard does have 9 ships in the vicinity of Puerto Rico. A satellite view of Puerto Rico at night dramatically showed that very few areas of the island have electrical power. Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
After months of struggling to find their footing, it looks like the GOP has finally found an effective spokesman. Since Republican leaders unveiled the reanimated corpse of Ronald Reagan at a fundraising event last week, the undead former president has quickly emerged as the new face of the Republican Party. Since Reagan was brought back from the grave by GOP leaders in a top-secret $2.2 million reanimation project, poll data shows Reagan with a higher favorability rating than all other high-profile Republicans combined.
The voters know Reagan. They trust Reagan. When he moans at them, they're going to listen.
There's questions as to whether he still has capacity for thought, and he does eat people, but big picture, he's the best option they have right now.
And appeared in a series of GOP ads promoting the Republican Party's traditional values.
Congress and the president say they're trying to help fix our country's economy. Ronald Reagan and the Republican Party have the right idea for America's future.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Join us right here as we launch into the second hour of the program. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can Skype in and join us here at Skype username LRN.FM. Here in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
You have Vincent.
And Mark.
We're going to go right back into your phone calls and thoughts. Then coming up here tonight, Vincent, you're going to tell us about a trial that is being done somewhere. And I think you said it was 2 U.S. cities, if I recall correctly, regarding this whole basic income concept where, well, we'll get into what that means coming up here in moments. We'll share that with you, and you can share your thoughts with us. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Plus, have teenagers been banned from trick-or-treating in some parts of Canada? Mark may have a story about that, and we'll go to you with your calls and thoughts. First up, it's Patrick on the line in Bullhead City, Arizona, listening to K-Talks. Hello, Patrick.
Hello, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hey there.
I hope your day is going well.
Splendid. Go ahead.
It's great that you brought up what you did, because I've been thinking about a lot of the same things. When I was young, when we were about ready to turn 18, we would have people that would step into our high schools and talk to us about fiscal responsibility and your responsibility to get out there. If you want to make changes, this is how you do it.
Somebody actually talked to you in high school about fiscal responsibility?
Yeah, this didn't happen to me.
Well, when I went to school, it was, I guess, a different time. But the fact is that if getting back to the idea about voting, if we push the kids into a direction to where they really truly understood why and how to make these changes in the world without, well, you know, they can go on their cell phones and talk about it all they want or go on social media, but they aren't making changes in that regard, but how to actually do it. And, you know, we had classes that taught us that, and I don't see those in the schools today. And
well, they still encourage kids to vote, but ultimately, you know, who can blame anybody for not voting? I mean, if you look at the choices that they're given, it's a bunch of crap. So, I mean, I don't blame anybody for just throwing up their hands and saying, screw this, I'm going to go do anything else with my time that would be more, effective.
I think a lot of people make their choices, they're like one-issue voters. They decide, this is the most important issue to me, whatever that issue might be. And they find the party that fits that issue, and then they just sort of stick with it.
Is that why Bernie Sanders and Ron Paul were both so popular among college students? Because they were both in favor of like drug legalization? Is that what brought those people out?
I think that in their cases, it was perceived like sort of integrity, right? Like, so Ron Paul had integrity. He always voted exactly the same way. It was very difficult to besmirch his integrity. Bernie Sanders was pretty consistent in his votes. I'm not sure that his integrity was as good, but that's, what a surprise. The Libertarian thinks the Libertarian was better.
Hey, I just had one question.
Go ahead.
Did you guys like a boys' date program in your high schools to where you actually, they would pick somebody out of your high school to go represent your city in a state program to teach you about the political system and how it runs? Because we had that. I was a boys' stater way back in the 70s, and it was a great program because it taught you not only the inside track of political, whatever the politics of how to go about doing things, but it also taught you the integrity of how you can develop yourself and your thoughts if you plan on going that way, or if you're going to represent or talk to
so what was it, some sort of political internship where you'd like go to the State House or something? What exactly would you do?
Yeah, Boys State was American Legion program. They would pick one person out of your city, and you would go for an entire week to the state, and it's a national program. They even have Boys National, which you go then to the Washington, D.C., and it was a program that you would go and you would meet with all these people throughout the state. You would run for offices. They would turn an entire college campus over to you, and then the one day you would go to the state assembly, and you would meet all your congressional people and sit in on a session.
And this was only one person that they would allow to do this every year?
Well, no, it was, you would have to apply for it, and then you would compete, which in my eyes was really good. I mean, they would interview you, you would talk to different people, and then they would pick you for your state, for your city. And it was
one person
an awesome
per city.
Program.
One person per
Well,
city.
yeah.
Is what you're
In
saying.
some areas, it may be two. It depends on how big your city is. I mean, California has a lot of big little cities.
Well, I mean, I get what you're saying. You saying that was a useful program to acclimate a young person to the whole political system, right? That's what you're saying.
And also too, it would put a lot of the myths that young people would feel towards this, like this is an older person's game, and anybody can make a difference providing they're willing to go out.
Not anybody. Only one person gets to go. I mean, it would seem to me that the message there, if you're not the politically selected chosen one, that
but you would be representing a group. I understand that, but that's what the interviewing process was, to see how well you represented your actual group, your generation, the people in your area. How involved are you?
But you can't possibly represent people. I mean, it's just the whole idea of representative government is just fallacious. I mean, only the representatives can't represent more than one person accurately at any given point in time because we all disagree. I mean, even in this studio, we have disagreements on things. So if we hired you as our representative, Patrick, and if you could somehow put aside all your own personal beliefs and only represent the beliefs of those of us, the three of us in this studio, it still wouldn't work out because you wouldn't be able to represent us all accurately, considering we don't all agree, and you certainly don't agree. So, I mean, it's just the whole political process is just window dressing for the violence of the state. The reason why it exists is to distract people from what's really going on, which is that people are strangers, people who we don't know generally, are in charge of other human beings, in charge of us. They will tell us what to do, where to go, how high to jump, how much to pay them, and what hoops to jump through. And if we don't do it, they'll send men like you after us. And you're a very nice man, but ultimately,
the thing was back when this was way before there, but it encouraged. We had over probably. They said close to 48% of our 18-year-old school body that went out and voted that one year, and the thing was there were, and it wasn't even a national vote; it was a city vote, and it towards bettering our school. And I mean, I understand exactly where you're coming from because I'm older now and I see that. But the fact is it was exciting. Kids don't see it as exciting anymore.
I would not see it as exciting. I can tell you I do. I mean, I'm interested and involved in the political process, but I'm not excited by it. I'm somebody who does it simply out of begrudging, this sort of idea that somebody has to do this crap, so I might as well go ahead and, try my best to help out. And even then, I mostly take my lead from Darrell W. Perry, who really is the one who's the most interested in it. He is running libertylobby.info. He keeps up on, the day-to-day goings-on in the State House, follows a lot of the bills, reviews and reads a lot of the bills. I'm just not excited enough by that. So even the level that I'm at, and I'm at a level that is far above as far as like activism is concerned at the State House. I go there on a weekly basis. And so I'm agreeing with what you're saying. It's hard to get people excited about what is a brutal, slow, and arduous process known as politics. Thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Especially when you're trying to get something done, like let's say marijuana decrim or legalization, and it just keeps getting batted down and batted down and batted down and batted down year after year after year after year. And you can't blame anybody who says, screw it, I've got better things to do. I'll just go and smoke the weed anyway. Who cares? 855-450 free. And finally, after years of failure, we get a tiny little decrim.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1. Plus, an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. 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 The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Our number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype. Our Skype username is LRN.FM. Joining you in the studio tonight, Ian here.
Vincent here.
And Mark.
We're going to go back to your calls and thoughts, but first,
if you've been hearing these bulletblocker.com ads and you've thought, man, that sounds like a good idea, but I'm going to put it off. I'm not going to be here to remind you much longer. This is the last week of Bullet Blocker's ads, and unless
I thought you were leaving.
They choose to renew. I haven't bought you out yet. BulletBlocker.com is a company that's been founded by a former Army Ranger and a firearms instructor with the goal of making backpacks for kids to protect them in case of school shootings. The demand was high enough that they began making backpacks, then briefcases, then jackets and coats for people who just wanted to be protected in these situations. The products are attractive. They're well made right here in the U.S. out of the thinnest, lightest ballistic available in the market today. Very flexible and concealable. They're airport security friendly. And you've got to have a nice jacket. You might as well have one that stops bullets, too. Go to bulletblocker.com. If the lives in your family are priceless, protect them at bulletblocker.com.
All right, let's go to your calls and thoughts. Doug calling from New Jersey. Doug, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello, Doug.
Hey, I'm calling you from Trenton Hospital, Trenton, New Jersey.
Sorry to hear
I
that.
had a reported judge I work with say, if you talk, I'll put you in jail. After I told him I had ironclad proof that he took a bribe, and my YouTube caption dragged us to 14 minutes, Doug, S-I-T-T.
All right, so, Doug, we warned you last time that if you keep calling about the same thing over and over again.
Listen to that?
Yeah, if you keep calling about the same thing over and over again, we're going to have to ask you to not call.
Dragged us to 14 minutes. He said he put me in jail before I was able to.
And now you're in a hospital.
Yes, yeah. Dragged us to 14 minutes. Caption Doug S-I-T-T-E-L on YouTube.
All right, so we've asked you to not do that anymore, so we're just going to go ahead and not take your calls for another couple months. Have a nice day. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You know, we don't have a whole lot of rules here on Free Talk Live. You can call in about anything that you want, but if you keep calling about the same thing, then it gets really dull. And so we have to do something to make it so that it is not as dull to listen to these people who are incessant callers of this radio program. So, we're still willing to hear from people every night, as some of them call every night. He doesn't call every night, thank goodness. No. But people like Sarah do. And Sarah at least
you can watch
changes
his
up.
video every night at Doug,
Whatever.
S-I-T-T-E-L.
Well, is it the same, or does he have updates? I mean, it sounds similar to the whole my Dave thing, but at least Dave has updates for his stuff.
Well, his update now is that he's in a hospital, allegedly.
Oh.
But it's just him calling about the same thing, which is to promote his YouTube channel. And, if you want to promote your YouTube channel, we've got advertising that you can buy, and Mark would be happy to sell you a package. So just reach right out to him at mark@freetalklive.com. And then,
that much is true.
Then you can promote your YouTube channel as often as you can afford. But anyway, let's continue with your calls and thoughts. We go to Greg. He's in New York. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Greg.
Hey, guys.
Hey there.
I wanted to talk to you today about factory farming.
Okay, sure.
There was an article that came out, just another article describing the kind of horrors that the animals face at factory farms.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the listeners know, factory farms are basically farms that take the animals and they kind of keep them confined in order to save money on land, pastures, and generally make food cheaper at the expense of the animals themselves.
Right, so like an example would be that a pig, for instance, in a factory farm may not be able to turn around in its own cage. It may be...
Okay,
no?
so knowing
That's
a bit
not an
about
example?
swine production, because I have done it, usually what you're gonna see is a farrowing cage. All right.
What's that?
So this is a cage that's put over the mama, so that she lays on her side, and the piglets can get to the teats, and she doesn't get up and then step on piglets.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't lay on piglets. She doesn't kill piglets in a variety of different ways. Now, farrowing cages are, they're pretty unattractive when they're sitting on a, big sow. People are like, why can't the mama get up? The mama, right? And I get where they're coming from, but, the result of farrowing cages is fewer dead babies.
Think about veal, right? You have all these little, these little calves. Basically, they're in a cage. So their meat becomes, muscles become tender. They're just force fed their whole life until they're killed.
Mm.
That's one of the more things. These baby cows being killed.
Yeah, there are examples. I've heard something about beasts not being able to turn around. Maybe it wasn't pigs, Mark. Maybe it was something
Probably
else.
veal.
But yeah, I've heard something about that.
Chickens. They do a variety of things to them too.
And then there's the ways that they're slaughtered, and some of the some people say that the slaughtering methods are less humane than they could be at some of these farms. So what were some of the examples you wanted to give, Greg?
Yeah, so I'm not picking an issue with the slaughtering methods. I think that an animal or a human being, often takes a long time to die, and compared to that, slaughter may actually be less painful. But keeping an animal in bad conditions for its whole life, that's what I'm concerned about. So when we talk about like chickens that can't spread the wing, or calves is the famous example, they can't really move around. They're fattened up. And here's another thing. Oh, yeah, and little chicks, for example, if they're indoors, they peck each other, so they cut off their beaks.
Cut off their beaks, yeah.
If they go to meat.org, you'll actually see videos of like all this stuff.
Was that meat.org or meats.org?
Meat.
Meat.
Just meat.org.
Okay.
Yeah. You could see graphic video of like exactly
what
this I'm talking about.
Yeah, I believe it. They've got the undercover videos that record this stuff.
Yeah, so this is my point. I wanted to bring this to make an analogy, though, with unregulated capitalism. Okay? I think capitalism is great at many things, and it certainly produces a lot more wealth than other systems. But also, it has a tendency to exploit externalities. Externalities are basically when, A and B make a deal between themselves, and it's a voluntary deal, but C may pay the price. If C their rights are not enforced, like C is an animal, or C is a prisoner in a prison, or C is a child in a sweatshop, or anything like that, it tends to happen that using capitalism just by itself, it's impossible to get rid of that. Because if I buy up all the factory farms and I eliminate these practices, someone else will start a factory farm and undercut my price. And as long as there's demand for that person, and having a $1 hamburger, that person's going to be exploited. Those animals under that person are going to suffer. And
I agree with
people say
the concern that you have, Greg. I hear the concerns you have, But my question would be, how is it different than today? Because here's the point. Currently today, factory farms, big food production is rewarded by the government. It's very difficult to compete as a small farmer because you don't have, these. They
some
have
are
all
subsidized.
There's all these rules. So there was one rule we read about not too long ago where. The factory farms could scan, one type of animal, but the small farmer had to scan every animal in its ear tag, and it did, all this more work that goes into it.
And the factory farms are like a lot of big companies putting in the regulations. So hang on, Greg, we'll bring you back for more discussion in moments. And all the horrifying things that he's talking about are going on today, right? Like the video is being recorded from current time. Under government regulations. It's Free Talk Live.
You've heard the phrase, you are what you eat? Not true. Actually, you are what you can absorb. So if the vitamins and supplements you now take are not being absorbed, what good are they? Introducing Protovite, proprietary liquid system that allows premium quality nutrients to positively affect the blood in an astonishing 5 minutes. Watch our amazing 2-minute live blood cell video at TrueHealthFacts.com. That's TrueHealthFacts.com. Then call 502-410-3411. Protovite is nutrition you can feel. Protovite is nutrition that gets in.
North Korea openly threatens the U.S. and launches a new missile every other week. Their warhead of choice? Electromagnetic pulse. Such an event would cripple the U.S. power grid for years and leave millions in the dark. Are you ready? You can be with a Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator. Solarc works day in and day out to keep your essentials protected. You can have peace of mind knowing your power will be there when you most need it. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to see EMP testing. That's PortableSolarLLC.com. Energy insurance for your family.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at SurvivorMax.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free and join us on the air. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. The idea of a basic income for people is apparently being tested somewhere, and Vincent, you've got some of the details about that. We'll share that with you coming up here. You can also take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE and bring up anything. And you can also mine Bitcoin over at pool.bitcoin.com. Or you can mine the Bitcoin Cash, the new Bitcoin, the one that's competing with the older Bitcoin. Check that out at pool.bitcoin.com. You can forget the constant equipment upgrades and maintenance of having to run your own Bitcoin miner. This allows you to invest in Bitcoin mining and you can stop there. You don't have to deal with any of the hassles. You just put some money, some Bitcoin in, and then you get some Bitcoin back out. And the question is, will you, bring more Bitcoin out than you put in? And hopefully the idea is yes. You can use a handy calculator there at pool.bitcoin.com to see what you might be able to make over time. As Mark and I have gotten into this prior to us promoting this, I wanted to get in, and Mark, you wanted to get in and check it out. And you went with the lifetime contract. I went with the 6-month.
Now, your 6-month should have paid for itself at this point, right?
I haven't checked the statistics in probably the last
Mine's really weeks. Close.
I switched to Bitcoin Cash, though, so that might have changed whether or not it would have paid for itself or whatever.
I never successfully did that.
So pool.bitcoin.com, there's a 100% uptime guarantee. The website's super easy to use. Check it out there, pool.bitcoin.com. Greg is on the line with us in New York, calling about factory farming. Yet more outrageous video has apparently bubbled to the surface. And Greg, you were talking about how you don't believe that unbridled capitalism or a free market would be able to protect the rights of or what you believe to be maybe the rights of animals. I don't want to put words in your mouth, though, so please clarify. Do we have Greg in New York?
Yes.
Yes, we have you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I started to talk about factory farms and animals, but I want to make a broader point. Before I do, I just want to say it's not just about meat. For example, dairy farmers, you said the government promotes it. They can promote themselves, too. There's a company called Dairy Management Incorporated, and it's run by about 40,000 dairy farmers put their money in there, and they do what's called National Dairy Checkoff, which is they actually run ads to increase the amount of consumption of milk and so forth.
Sure.
Remember those ads, Got Milk?
Yep.
Those were the farmers. So, of course, that would be nice, except if they weren't exploiting the cows that were just standing there and being milked. And, of course, these cows are fed hormones to lactate all the time. They're artificially inseminated, obviously. But even more than that, the humans suffer from this because they overuse antibiotics on the factory animals because they're all indoors. And you must use the antibiotics, but they also use them to fatten them up and to grow larger. And so now the MRSA, the antibiotic-resistant bacteria strains that are around, are affecting everybody, including humans. And we all have to pay for the money that these farmers saved, essentially. So that's a side effect of capitalism as well.
Okay, so what evidence would you propose that some other financial system wouldn't have farmers overusing antibiotics? Look, I don't want to pick one of the things you've talked about, but to me, antibiotics is probably the worst thing you've talked about. So I'm trying to latch on to the thing that concerns me the most. I've got, I know quite a bit about dairy farming, and the capitalism harms dairy farmers because it actually sets the price, or not capitalism, but this current controlled system that we have.
Crony capitalism,
the system that we have today harms dairy farmers because they can't compete on price. They have to sell at a certain rate. But what evidence do you have that in some socialist, and to me there's only capitalism and socialism,
to me there's not.
Okay, fine.
But yeah, go ahead.
You pick the system and tell me why farmers wouldn't use antibiotics to protect their herd in that system.
Sure. So first of all, if they did compete on price, then of course there's an incentive to save money and to put animals as cooped up as possible and to fatten them up as much as possible. That doesn't competing on price only makes the incentives to do that worse.
But they're not competing on price, and they're still doing it.
Right. So they're doing it in the United States. In Europe, they actually have regulations for animal rights. And in many countries, they actually prevent farmers from doing these things to animals. They don't have these factory farm practices in Europe, as far as I know.
Yeah, they've got different problems there, in a variety of things.
Well, not these.
I can address them. What's that?
So my point is, I think there is room for the government to intervene to protect the rights of living beings, of sentient beings, including humans. And I wanted to make a broader point. It's not just factory farms. If prisons were run entirely in a private manner, of course there would be incentive to make smaller living quarters and to work the prisoners to the bone as much as they can and to extract as much value from them as possible, because then you would make more money. And if you don't do that, then someone else will. So if you're not the product, if you're not the customer, you're the product, they say, And it's certainly true in this. So yes, there is a legitimate role to protect people's well-being or animals' well-being.
So, Greg, if I recall, you're Russian. If you want to talk about an exploitative system, the Soviet state socialist system had to have been the most exploitative out there. It sucked the will out of people to achieve because they could never make anything better.
Just to cut that off, that's a false dichotomy. I'm not saying, let's replace this with a totalitarian state. I'm saying have a state that protects
all socialist states are totalitarian. When you quote-unquote protect people's rights, Greg, you set down rules. You've said it yourself that when you allow the state to claim ownership over a given landmass, somebody's going to claim ownership over that landmass, then the person who claims it is going to use violence. The only way they can put these regulations of which you speak into place is violence. Now, the proposal is that violence is better than the violence that would be perpetrated in its absence. And
correct.
Like at this point, all you can say is, I think it would be better. And I support your opportunity to try it. But
we've been trying it for the last hundreds of years.
And it's not working, right?
Well, he's claiming that it's better in Europe. He just claimed it was better in Europe.
Well, its meat's way more expensive in Europe too.
Yeah, you don't eat much beef
exactly. It is. It's more expensive in Europe.
It's not subsidized as much either. There's a lot of subsidization that goes on in the United States for meat, specifically, actually all of it, beef, pork, the whole deal.
So again, it comes back down to the question of utilitarianism, right? And Mark, you've taken some utilitarian positions.
I'm a pretty utilitarian guy
on the show in the past. You've asked me if it turned out that government control created better outcomes, would I support that government control? And I would say no, because I believe in the morality aspect of leaving people alone and letting them make their own choices and letting the market decide these things. I like the idea of freedom, and I think that ultimately that freedom in the long run is better for everybody, but it can be a messy process. And when it comes to, for instance, when it comes to food.
I'm calling in with the question, don't the animals deserve their freedom as well? And to
well, now you're getting into a much bigger conversation about the rights of animals or children or prisoners or whatever.
Yes.
And again, this is where it comes down to, what do people actually believe? If people actually believe in setting the chickens free, then they will buy voluntarily the free-range chicken eggs. You can go to the store and you have a choice.
But that's like saying if people believe in pro-life, then they just won't make abortions, and the rest of the people can just go ahead and do what they like. And in other words, you are saying basically that the rights of the either the fetus or the child or the animal.
I don't believe fetuses or animals have rights.
Well, what about children? Children have rights. Prisoners have rights.
Yep, I would say children and prisoners do have rights, and I don't think that people should be exploited. But ultimately, it's up to the market, I think, to decide, because peace is the way, and using violence of the state is something I'll never support. Thank you for the call tonight.
I believe that both animals and fetuses have rights also.
There's more coming up here in moments. We can talk about that. Rights, interesting discussion. And what about the prisoner thing that he brought up? I don't want to just gloss over that question either. It's coming up.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
In an emergency, you need a fire now. But what if the wood is wet? No problem for InstaFire. Our non-toxic fire starter packs light wet wood, can even burn on water or in any weather, sustains winds up to 30 miles per hour, and each pouch weighs only 1.75 ounces. Need an emergency stove? Get the InstaFire Inferno stove that boils water in under 3 minutes. Temps up to 1,500 degrees. Free shipping on anything. Go to instafire.com/radio specials and get yours today. InstaFire. Fire in an instant. Instafire.com/radio specials.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want here. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Ian.
It's Vincent.
And Mark.
I think Greg brought up some interesting things, but a whole lot of things in one call, and it was hard
very hard to hit
to really talk about all of them. I made a few notes here, but we talked about, towards the end of his call, the idea of rights and his position that animals have rights and that there needs to be some sort of system set up to protect those rights is, I think, a very, while on its face it sounds nice, oh, who doesn't want to hurt the cute little cows or dogs or whatever? Who doesn't, who wants to see pain being brought to an animal? Only a sick effer would want to do that. But ultimately, the idea that animals have rights, I don't think makes any sense because, and Mark, you said you think that they do have rights, so I definitely want to hear more about how you feel. And Vincent, I'd love to hear how you feel about the idea. But to me, it doesn't seem like animals could have rights unless they could reciprocate those rights. So rights are an agreement between people. They don't actually exist. They're ideas that people came up with because they figured that, well, if we, let's say, treat other people like they have a right to life and not go around murdering and harming people, then that's a good thing because that means that you won't likely be murdered or harmed by somebody else if everybody indeed does adhere to this idea of you have a right to your life not being stripped from you. But if you do the same thing with an animal, they're not going to be able to understand the concept, number one, until we can finally communicate with a dolphin or a dog or something like that. But we don't really have a real way to do that in any kind of meaningful, beyond just sit and stay kind of commands. So they don't have the ability to reciprocate. So while you might want to give rights to a tiger, that doesn't mean that he's not going to bite your head off if he gets the chance, like he did with Siegfried and Roy or whatever it was a few years ago.
I would say the tiger was acting in self-defense. He was being imprisoned by Siegfried and Roy.
Regardless,
in the wild,
they don't think about self-defense.
In the wild, when we're hungry, they attack like bears, right? You rarely do black bears attack people. If
when
we're
was
hungry,
the last time either one of you ate a bear or a tiger?
Well, but they're animals, aren't they, Mark? So what's the difference between a chicken and a bear?
Protozoa and you? I mean, there's a whole wide range of differences between protozoas and humans. So you have decided that one particular primate has rights and that none of the other primates do. Is that correct?
Until there's a way to ascertain whether
one particular primate can decide that the other primates have rights too? Come on. There's a lot of
There
dumb
has to be
humans.
the ability to reciprocate those rights.
Okay. Reciprocation you keep on bringing up. When was the last time you were attacked by a chicken?
I don't go around chickens,
When was the last time you ate a chicken?
Yesterday.
Oh, right. So you have then visited violence upon aggression upon chicken. Chickenhood has been attacked by Ian, whereas chickenhood has not attacked Ian.
What's the point you're trying to make?
You are talking about reciprocating rights, but you have no...
I'm not offering them rights because they don't have the ability to reciprocate. So they provide us with sustenance.
You are choosing whether they have it or not. You are claiming to be some kind of God person who decides whether or not animals can
that's what we do here. We decide those things.
They have their own...
No evidence to the contrary, Mark, so he made a rational decision.
In the same way that an alien ship comes down here with superior technology, then they get to decide how things roll around here. Okay?
Hopefully
if the cockroaches all of a sudden grew to 20 times their size, they'd probably decide how to run things around here.
The aliens aren't going to visit until you reach the conclusion that life has value. All right? Until then, they're just going to leave you to consume
Did they tell you that, Mark?
your brethren. All right?
Did they tell you that when they abducted you and filled you in on what their plans were?
Is this the best you can do?
We're gonna hang out up here and just wait around until the humans move to their next plateau of consciousness, and then we're gonna come in.
You can do is I've been probed.
Where'd you get the idea that they're gonna do that, Mark?
It's just
sounds
a joke.
like something you saw on TV
or
whatever.
You're claiming that the aliens are going to come, and then
I
they
didn't
can make
claim
the
anything
rules.
about the aliens are come. You just said the aliens are going to come when humans get to some new level of consciousness and don't visit violence upon other animals.
All right, so there's lots of animals.
You who has slaughtered pigs
that don't visit violence upon you. Oh, I have my own set of rules.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only questioning yours. All right.
Well, I don't have any rules about
Yes, you do. You said that when they can reciprocate rights and communicate that reciprocation of rights to you, you will stop eating them. Right?
I didn't say anything about that.
That's not what you said?
No,
All right,
I said that's what it would
back.
take for them to be given rights, is for them to be able to reciprocate those rights.
So a talking chicken that said, hey, I've got rights, please don't kill me and eat me, would be sufficient for you. Is that correct?
That would make me very interested in continuing that conversation.
What about
and seeing
people,
exactly where they were
human
coming
beings
from.
who are in a vegetative state? Are they worth eating? Can you eat them? They can't reciprocate rights.
Right, but their species has the ability to do that.
Now it's the species. All right,
Yeah.
so we're going
not talking about the individuals.
You're picking of species. Is it genus? Is it family?
I'm
is
not
it
a
kingdom?
scientist, dude. I don't know what all
and
that
it's
means.
so unhealthy to eat human flesh too, right? You're not. It's it's unnatural to eat human flesh because you could get all these parasites. You could get a nervous disorder.
People get mad cow disease.
Well, yeah, it's from cows eating.
Cows.
Yeah, but it's cow. Yeah, so it's not natural. So I'm just saying,
European cows, mind you, in reference to Greg's call from the previous segment.
So you're saying animals have rights, Mark. So what does that mean?
So I believe that you have that first off, if an animal can view itself, and there's a few out there, elephants.
You mean recognize itself in a mirror?
Chimpanzees, yep. Crows. Those are the ones that come to mind. Human beings. Most
dolphins can.
Yep, dolphins, orangutans, primates. Apes of all sorts.
I think some dogs can, but others can't.
Some dogs can, others can't.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things is that now you're talking about smart dogs versus dumb dogs, and that gets real tricky. I agree with you. I differentiate between species too on which ones I choose to eat and which ones I choose not to eat. But dogs is one I'm just going to leave alone because, well, some dogs can recognize themselves.
If I were in
mirrors.
China and somebody presented me with a dog dish, I'd eat it.
I hear you, and at that point,
it's already been cooked.
You haven't killed the dog, right?
Right. I don't want good food to go to waste.
Yeah. No, I think that an animal that can recognize itself has taken a step to own yourself. You must recognize yourself, and so that's Also, this problem is going to be solved with lab-grown meat in about a decade. So we won't have to deal with this stuff.
Oh, somebody's still going to want to kill.
I'm not
fresh
putting
beast.
that poison in my mouth.
Somebody's still going to want the fresh killed beast, and
it's going to cost a lot more. So once you have a really expansive, once capitalism takes a hold of lab-grown meat, they're going to spend. It's going to be a lot more expensive to grow pigs in South Carolina than it is to have lab-grown
Here's
pork.
the problem with what you're saying. I mean, I like what you're saying and everything. That's nice that you think that an animal that can recognize itself should be given some level of rights.
I think ones that can't recognize themselves have rights too.
Okay, well, so you have these different levels of
a quick and as painless death as you can give it.
Okay. So you have a different set of what you believe different types of animals should have as far as rights are concerned. But you're not Greg, and Greg is not everybody else, and everybody else isn't you guys, and everybody has their own beliefs about what it is that animals should or should not have, or how they should or shouldn't be treated, and ultimately they don't all agree. We don't all agree. Right here in the studio, we don't all have the same
Who disagrees
viewpoint.
with me that an animal should get the quickest and most painless death possible?
A sadist would probably
there
disagree
isn't one
with
in the
you there.
studio, right?
No, I didn't say there was one.
When a sufficient number of people in a given society disagree with you on that opinion, they will use force and violence to stop you.
Mm-hmm. Sure, but my point was that people
Sadists
disagree.
don't have enough
They're a very small percentage.
currency, yeah.
But there are people who are out there who don't care how their animals are treated on a farm. There are people who
they expect that farmers have done the right thing. They see a picture of a barn and a silo and maybe a chicken out front of the barn, and they think to themselves, well, this is a really nice thing. I'll bet Farmer John did his very best
But
on
my
this.
point that I'm trying to drive at here is that people have different belief systems on these things.
Mostly not.
Yeah, they do. People are different. They have a variety of different belief systems, and ultimately, they're not all going to come together on the same page on how to treat animals, because some people believe that all animals have rights, and you shouldn't even have them in captivity.
Some people believe
that there shouldn't even be a thing as a pet. That is imprisonment of a beast, of an individual thing that should have its own volition.
I'd be interested in talking to somebody like that, because what they're talking about is absolutely the death of all living things, of megafauna on the planet. If you let pigs, deer, the rats, these kind of what do they call them? R class,
R selected animals.
R selected animals breed at their will and run about at their will and you control them in no way, shape, or form, they'll eat everything, and we will starve as a species within, I'm going to call it 5 years.
There are some people who don't believe in property. There are people who believe in property.
Then you take the property from the people that don't believe in property.
There's more coming up here
suddenly
in
they'll believe in
moments. Our number here is 855-450, free like freedom. And that's why I say none of these people should be able to make decisions for others. The marketplace should be the only way that decisions are made. There's more coming up here. Hour number 3 is on the way. It's the only moral answer.
Are you tired of paying fees and commissions to that other site? I know you are. And I'm here to tell you about a great alternative to sell your stuff. BuySellMakeOffer.com is the best-selling site to ever come along. It doesn't matter what you're selling, big or small. It's easier than ever. And you can use Skype to show your items and get to know your potential buyer, and they can see that you are for real. No more blind trust. And you're not limited to snapshots. You can video what you're selling to better sell it fast. For as little as $9.95, and that's after a free 30 days, you can sell everything you no longer want with absolutely no fees, ever. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and become part of a community of buyers and sellers who have already discovered this revolutionary way of getting it sold online. That's BuySellMakeOffer.com. You'll never regret making the switch. BuySellMakeOffer.com. So, what are you waiting for?
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, September 27th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.80 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,287 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,087. Antiwar.com reports Turkey's foreign minister on Tuesday warned that every option is on the table for dealing with Iraqi Kurdistan's independence vote, and that they are considering a joint military operation with the Iraqi central government against the Kurds. Iran chimed in shortly thereafter, saying they're eager to stand with both Iraq and Turkey to rule out any possible secession of the Kurds. Top Khomeini advisor Ali Akbar Velayati termed the secession bid an abhorrent deviation, adding that the region would not allow the creation of a second Israel. Iraqi officials have not directly addressed the possibility of military action against the Kurds, though the Iraqi parliament has approved the deployment of military into areas contested by the Kurdistan regional government. It's long been feared Kurdistan's independence would mean a fight. Kurdish officials have spent the last several years building up the Peshmerga into a substantial U.S. armed fighting force, though it's not at all clear they could hold their own against three nations at once. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan was a lot more direct about what is being discussed here, warning that the secession attempt could lead to an ethnic war on the region against the Kurds. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Puerto Rico's main airport has effectively been crippled by Hurricane Maria, leaving travelers stranded as they try to get off the island. Because of a lack of electrical power, planes at Luis Marin Munoz International Airport are limited to takeoffs during daylight, meaning most passengers can't depart the island. Planes carrying disaster relief are arriving at the airport. All reservations are being confirmed through a phone line to Miami, and hundreds of departing passengers were waiting at the airport in stifling heat. Computers used to manage boarding passes and luggage were out of order 5 days after the hurricane struck the island. The Federal Aviation Administration said most of the airport's radar and navigation equipment damaged by the storm is now operational. It added that one long-range radar site atop a mountain will be unusable until workers with chainsaws can cut their way through 2 miles of debris and down trees. It's unclear how long it might take before the airport can resume normal operations. Officials have previously said it could take a month to restore all the power to Puerto Rico. San Juan Mayor Carmen Yulín Cruz told CNN, "We're finding dialysis patients that haven't been able to contact their providers, so we're having to transport them in near-death conditions. We're finding people with oxygen tanks running out because small generators now don't have any diesel." House Speaker Paul Ryan on Tuesday promised aid to the 3.5 million residents of the U.S. territory, which was completely left without electricity. Speaker Ryan said, "This has been a devastating hurricane. This is a humanitarian crisis. The images and stories coming out of the island have been heartbreaking and devastating. This is our country, and these are our citizens. They need help, and they're going to get help. I want the people of Puerto Rico to know we are in this with them," adding that Congress will act when President Donald Trump sends in an aid request. The Speaker's promises come as Democratic leaders are critical of Trump for what they see as an inadequate response to the devastation in Puerto Rico. Among them is former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, who suggested on Tuesday that the U.S. Navy get involved in relief efforts. The U.S. Coast Guard does have 9 ships in the vicinity of Puerto Rico. A satellite view of Puerto Rico at night dramatically showed that very few areas of the island have electrical power. Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The members of Twisted Sister announced they are now willing to take it. A local man is seated next to Lou Reed on a roller coaster, and in retrospect, a band teacher was probably gay. And now a digitally remastered recap of the summer's music news. Baby Baby Love Ya Girl is now the nation's #1 song, despite no one claiming credit for singing, writing, or producing it. Here now is a short excerpt of the track.
Baby, baby, love you, girl. Baby, baby, love you, girl. Baby, baby.
Members of the music industry call the hit single the most creatively brain-dead wasteland in modern recording history. And they say they would gladly lose millions in royalties rather than face the shame of having been involved in it. After a slap-faced filibuster from rubber band minority leader Bootsy Collins, the National Funk Congress remains deadlocked over the controversial Get Up, Get Down issue. Proponents of the measure favor getting on up and staying on the scene like a sex machine, while detractors are vehement in their belief that Americans need to get down with their bad selves.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can dial toll-free to bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Ian, Vincent, and Mark in the studio here tonight, whether you want to talk about whatever's on your mind or comment on some stuff we've already discussed, everything including Canadian cannabis legalization turning out to be not maybe what people thought it was going to be, to animal rights and human rights. Can there even be such a thing as animal rights? Mark, you're saying that you think that animals do have rights. Sure. Vincent, I could extrapolate from what you've been saying how you feel, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. So what's your viewpoint on this one? Because Mark and I certainly have discussed this many times. Where do you fall on this issue of animal rights?
I mean, I agree with you saying that if animals can't respect, it's real difficult because I'm tempted to go with a cop out, as being Christian, God entrusted man with all of the fruits of his creation, but I won't do that because that doesn't make for interesting radio. I agree with you, right? If an animal can't understand property rights, if it can't understand I think it's just a lack of sentience in a way. I think that was always my.
So do you agree with what Mark said earlier? For those just tuning in, Mark, you had said that if an animal can recognize itself in a mirror, which is a very select group of animals that can do that,
but you can Google it; it's right out there.
Yeah, then if they can recognize themselves in a mirror, that suggests that they have a certain level of sentience that the other animals do not. Does that mean that those animals, a monkey or a dolphin or whatever, that they have rights or more rights than the other animals have?
No, I disagree because from what I read somewhere, some very low IQ humans can't recognize themselves in a mirror, but I'm sure they could recognize other people.
Oh, I think that those humans really only get thrown into the they have rights category simply because the vast majority of humans can recognize themselves in a mirror.
Well, and that comes back around to the question that you'd asked, Mark, about, well, what about somebody who is bedridden or they can't talk, or I forget exactly what you had said.
A vegetable.
A vegetable. There you go. Somebody in a coma, or do these people also have rights? And my answer right off the bat was, well, yes, because they're also humans, even though they don't have the same level of ability. But you can also argue that somebody who is in a position like that, a vegetable-like position, obviously is not taking care of themselves, so they don't have the ability to even make decisions for themselves in the state in which they're in. So you could argue that those people are just.
What decisions could I make for them then?
You could argue that those people are basically the wards of the people who are taking care of them, and that they don't have rights beyond what the person who is their ward
So in the absence of the state, an absence of regulation around what you do with a vegetable ward, do you think that somebody would decide, time to have the vegetable for dinner? Right? I mean, humans are a depraved species. If you read us sort of historically and look for the worst of the stories, these things happen. And I don't.
Do you think a regulation is going to stop somebody from slaughtering another person?
At this point, socialism generally takes a person who would otherwise be taken care of by others, out of that situation, puts them into a hospital, and then they're
abused by people in the hospital,
by state employees. Yeah.
So that doesn't really sound like an improvement.
Yeah, I suppose it's a better story than some Pulp Fiction thing where they get filleted into strips and smoked.
So are you arguing for the state then?
I'm amazed that ants can recognize themselves in a mirror.
Are they on the list?
Yep.
Well, what's that supposed to mean? You keep saying that. So
how do they tell?
I mean, an ant could recognize another ant when it walks up and sees it. So I mean, I don't think it's that special that it could see itself in a mirror.
No, not if it can see itself. If recognize that it is a self.
How do you test for that?
I haven't been able to read it. I'm here listening to you talk about eating vegetables.
No, you brought up eating vegetables.
Quit putting your words into my mouth, man. I didn't think of that stuff. That's going through your head, dude. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Sorry.
I mean, when I eat something, I recognize myself. I say, I'm going to take this piece of food, put it in my mouth. I don't say, I'm just going to, pick it up and throw it wherever.
No. Vincent, when you go to the mirror and you shave your face,
yes,
you know that it's you in the mirror, right?
Yes.
If that were to happen in the case of a dog, it is unlikely. You know how dogs go to the mirror and bark at the other dog?
Yes.
That's the difference of what we're talking about.
Okay, yeah, and I don't see how the fact that the dog recognizes itself makes a difference. I mean, what, do you think it's going to value its life more? Animals fight when it's trying to be killed, so they obviously value their own lives.
They do, and that's a great point, right? They value their own life. That is a great point for sort of self-ownership. Secondarily, in order to...
It's instinct, though, you can also argue.
What's the difference? How are you distinguishing your instinct versus theirs? You can explain your instinct away
because we have choice, Ian.
You have a voice,
Mark.
Is what you have.
Mark, I'm sorry. Because Mark, we have a choice, right? A dog has to do it.
Dogs
right?
have
I could
choices?
want to die. Someone could, try and be killing me, and I could say, you know what, I'm sick of this, and I just sit there to die. A dog has to fight back until it can.
I can't tell you whether or not the dog will fight back or whatever. I'm surely there's some dog that wants to die too.
No, I highly doubt it. They're run by their instinct. Humans have choices.
Listening to the show right now that would say you do not have a choice.
What's
a person who believes that you simply don't have choices, that free will is an illusion. All right.
Yeah.
So
everything you're doing, you've already, somebody's already decided for you, or you're just following some sort of set of predetermined paths.
Yeah, they probably look both ways before they cross the street, though.
Well, and I'd like to see their evidence for that.
There's lots of it. Look,
I don't have a choice of what I do.
The biggest hole the internet has when you start researching determinism versus free will. Believe me. It's just dizzying.
You're saying there's evidence for determinism?
Sure there is.
Okay, well, name what is it?
I thought this was just like something
I'm not going to make that argument.
Oh, so you're saying there is evidence, but you don't know any of it.
Yes, that's correct. I don't.
You've got him on the ropes, Vincent.
I have read this stuff, because this is the answer.
Oh, you read something. Could you please cite it, Mark?
Okay, their argument is this.
Yes.
That in fact, you've got this personality type that is laid out, and that basically you're going to react a certain way in every situation in which is presented to you
in a predictable fashion, and therefore, essentially, you don't have free will.
But
that's the argument.
I could still make the choice. I could still decide not to do anything. I could still I understand
that's what they want you to believe.
I understand the point you're trying to make. I'm just saying that the fact that
are they nihilists too, the determinists?
They believe in nothing.
Yeah, they have to
be. They believe in nothing.
I'm not going to make an argument for determinism. I find it the most frustrating thing in the world.
So you don't believe in it?
Hell no.
Okay, just making sure we're clear on that.
Most no libertarian can. You can't believe in free will. A person having free will and believe in a determinism at the same time. And if you can, please explain it to me at 855-450-FREE. Back to animal rights. I think that you can get the vast rights are an agreement, as you said multiple times.
Therefore, animals can't have them because they can't agree.
Oh, but most people can agree that animals have the right to the quickest and most painless death possible.
Great. So I wouldn't say it's a right either.
It's more like a privilege or something like that.
Yeah, it's something I'd rather see happen, but they don't have a right to do it.
A human preference for an animal. That's different than a right.
Then how is it distinguished from a right by your definition, which is to say that it's that rights are an agreement between people?
Because you're not making an agreement with the animal. Hello? It seems pretty crystal clear. The animal's not having an agreement. It's the humans that are having an agreement saying, oh yeah, we shouldn't torture that cow when we kill it. That's not the same thing as the cow coming to an agreement with you that you're going to treat it nice and it's not going to stampede against you.
The humans don't agree on even the rights that humans have. So
I agree with you, but you said that most humans agree that animals shouldn't be tortured.
That's correct.
Okay.
And most humans will agree with you that you have the right to free speech until you say something they don't like, at which point they will retract that from you. So what is the functional difference between an animal's rights by your definition of rights? I don't believe that this is the definition of rights. I believe in a different definition of rights. However, what is the functional difference between an animal's right to a quick and painless death and a human's right to...
It's not a right to you keep putting words into my mouth, and that's not what I said. When humans come to an agreement about animals, you're not granting the animal a right, because a right is something that is an agreement between people.
How do humans come to an agreement on rights then? And what are
they
rights?
Haven't. I don't know if you've noticed, but some people believe in property and others don't, for instance.
So rights don't exist.
No, that's what I said at the beginning of the discussion. Rights are just an idea.
How can I exist that rights exist in animals if you don't believe they exist at all?
I didn't say that they exist at any point. I said they're an agreement between human beings. There's more coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Don't do what I did and run out. If it's working, don't quit. Why would you stop? Why undo all the good that's been accomplished?
You've got to feed them right for life.
Dynavite is nutrition.
If I ever took Roy off of Dynavite...
No.
When I get to about 3/4...
When I get down to the bottom of my box of Dynavite, oh no, I've got a couple more scoops. It's time to place my order. Dynavite.com. DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dynavite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash and help us build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org. That's dash.org.
If you're David, a few well-chosen words can help level the playing field with Goliath. I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com. Recently, I saw a Yellow Pages ad for an appliance repair company, and the headline read, "Why wait for Sears?" If you're going to the Yellow Pages, the Dead Sea Scrolls of advertising, you're ready to buy right now. So this is an attention-grabbing message. And how about the plumber whose radio ad says, "Call by noon Thursday, and we'll be there Saturday at no extra cost"? Smart guy. Most plumbing firms give their crew the weekend off. This one gives them Sunday and Monday off. In the words of a respected advertising executive, cut to the chase, make it quick, and tell me exactly what you can do for me, especially if you're looking for work. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. You can join us and talk about whatever's on your mind. Joining you tonight, it's Ian.
It's Vincent.
And Mark.
And also, I want to let you know about shop.freetalklive.com. I did get 33% off recently at, not shop.freetalklive.com, saveitpurse.com. I apologize. Shop.freetalklive.com will get you regular Amazon prices, and we get a good chunk of that. At saveitpurse.com, you save big time on your Amazon purchases, and it's possible to get 33%. Normally, I'll shoot for like 20% because it's pretty easy to get 20% off. But this time, I thought, I don't really need this thing that I'm ordering. It was actually a dash cam. I don't really need it urgently, but I would like to have it. And I would like to get a pretty big discount on it because it was expensive. Like, regular price was $200. So I slid the slider on saveitpurse.com after importing my Amazon wish list into the site, slid that sucker all the way up to 33%, and then I waited. And it only took like 2 days for somebody to snatch that thing up. And that meant that I get the thing that I wanted at 33% off. The person that wanted to get Bitcoin from me got Bitcoin that they paid 33% more than the regular price of Bitcoin for, which is amazing anybody would do that, but some people are willing to do that, which is how SaveItPurse.com works behind the scenes. And that's the catch, is you have to have Bitcoin. You have to have, at the very least, some sort of cryptocurrency, because they've got the Shapeshift integration there that allows you to use other cryptocurrencies besides Bitcoin. But that's what you have to get these amazing discounts. 20%, easy to do day to day. If you want to get it real fast, you can always go for 10 or 15%, and that'll probably get cleared out even faster than the 20%. But either way, you're going to be saving significant amounts of money. Use SaveItPurse.com, SaveATPurse.com. As we go to your calls and thoughts here, we got Will. He's on the line in Lake Isabella, listening to KVLI. Hello, Will.
Well, hello, y'all.
Hey.
Yeah, you're all talking.
Uh-oh. Will, do we lose you? Uh-oh. Will in California going once? Will in California going twice? Oh, it's too bad. He wanted to talk about the animal rights thing. So maybe we can get Will back here. But meanwhile, let's continue with more of your calls. We have Ricky on the line in Pennsylvania on Skype. Hello, Ricky.
That would be the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania there, Brother Ian.
What's on your mind tonight, Ricky?
Well, I was kind of thinking about secession, hearing your other callers tonight, and I'll tell you what, I think the biggest problem is secession.
Secession, that's different.
Secession, like blowing it away?
No, what does that mean?
That sounds like blowing it up.
I don't support violence, if that's what you're getting at.
Blowing away the Constitution of the United States of America, that is, Brother Ian.
No, the other people can keep the Constitution. The Constitution can continue. If one state leaves, or more than one state leaves, the ones that want to stay in the Union, they can stay in the Union as far as I'm concerned, long as they
Except for Mark. Mark seems to have interest in leaving. And I will tell you this.
So does everybody, I think, on this show.
Well, I could tell you a couple solutions right off that would be solved.
I like solutions. Let's hear it.
Well, won't have to worry about this here healthcare problem because both the AMA and Big Pharma will be put temporarily out of business.
How is that? How would secession put Big Pharma and the American Medical Association temporarily out of business?
Well, we're not part of this, so we're not going to be part of the American Medical Association or Big Pharma.
Look, the doctors are still going to have themselves a cartel in the local state unless you can completely abolish all healthcare regulations in the local state as well.
Well, I can speak only for Pennsylvania. I can't speak for New Hampshire. The way I see it,
Pennsylvania doesn't have any regulations that give doctors, priority as far as protecting them from anybody that, like, let's just say a nurse wants to compete with the doctors because the nurse might be able to do everything a doctor can, but legally she can't because some government laws are in place.
In my area, as an example, Brother Ian.
Yeah.
Imagine this: a hospital chain. A hospital is deadly, okay? Lots of people dying. So what you have is you have another hospital, take that hospital over just to save lives. They won't turn a profit for at least 5 years.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Well, Pocono Medical Center being taken over by Lehigh Valley Hospital as an example. Why do they do that? Simple reason. It's a death trap. People dying right and left. Okay. Now, the point is...
So you're saying that a group of investors came in and bought a hospital because people were dying unnecessarily in that hospital?
I'm saying a hospital bought another hospital, plain and simple.
And the reason ostensibly was because the hospital that got bought was abusive towards people?
Oh, I know firsthand. A lot of my friends are dead, including my own mother. Okay, so you don't have to tell me about Pocono Medical Center and their tactics.
I wasn't telling you about them. I was asking you about them.
Well,
has it changed since the new hospital took it over? Is it now a better hospital?
Bit by bit. They haven't got rid of all the old staff yet. It's only been the past year or so they've taken over. And it's going to take years to deal with the mess. It's kind of like government. And see, that's where I've come to this conclusion. I've not given up on government. No, I've just given up on this one, Ian.
Which one? The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania?
The Union.
The Union. All right. He wants to secede Pennsylvania back into a full-on Commonwealth.
Is there anybody else in Pennsylvania that you've ever met that wants to secede from the United States?
There must be.
Yep, met somebody yesterday. Thought it was a great idea.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think it's a good idea.
Get together and work on
Well,
that.
you know, the problem is fear. People are afraid.
Yeah.
People are afraid that they can't live without the state. And I'll make a couple points. First of all, money, we got plenty of money. We just don't have to pay the state no more of that money. As far as who they're paying, they got to worry about that themselves. That ain't our problem.
According to, let's see here, PhillyMag.com, the folks from Philadelphia want to secede from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, well, that's Antifa crap. You know, that's been calming down as far as I'm concerned. They want to secede. This has been ever since 15 from the rest of Pennsylvania because they figure we don't respect them. That was when this Antifa stuff was at its height.
Hey, thanks for the call tonight, Ricky. One of the few things we do agree on is that secession's a good idea. Thanks. I appreciate hearing from you. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. More of a lucid night for Ricky. He was somewhat understandable in that particular call. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Of course, I completely support the idea of secession.
I'm sure more people from central Pennsylvania between Pittsburgh and Philly would really appreciate both of those cities seceding. I have family who live in the center there, and I asked, they always complain about Philadelphia, and I said, oh, Uncle, what do you think could improve Philadelphia so you don't always complain about it? And his answer was simply a tactical nuke.
According to the story here at PhillyMag.com, this was published back in summer of 2016. According to a new poll from conservative firm Harper Polling, the plurality of Pennsylvanians that were polled selected the 5-county Philadelphia region as the one they'd like to leave the Commonwealth, a Philexit. Harper asked 500 adults in the state the following question, quote, "As you may have heard, the United Kingdom recently voted to leave the European Union, an event that has been referred to in the media as Brexit or the British exit. Which region of Pennsylvania would you most like to see leave the Commonwealth in its own Brexit?" 52% weren't sure, but 29% of Pennsylvanians said Philadelphia and southeastern Pennsylvania should leave, and no other region came close. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. So secession is definitely an idea that needs to be talked about more, and this is Free Talk Live.
Dr. Carolyn Dean wants you to have a free chapter of her new book, The Magnesium Miracle 2nd Edition, and it's available at magmiracle.com. In your free chapter, Dr. Carolyn Dean explains how magnesium is essential to support the structure and function and overall health of your body. Your free chapter is your guide to learn how to support your heart, bone, metabolic, lung, and mental health with this powerful mineral. The Magnesium Miracle 2nd Edition is available on Amazon, but right now get a free chapter at magmiracle.com, spelled M-A-G, miracle.com.
With nearly 70 years of history engineering bunkers, today, Atlas Survival Shelters is still the authority. Atlas offers 18 different choices, from commercial tornado shelters to underground nuclear fallout shelters, starting at just $99.99 with 100% financing available. Comfortable interiors and state-of-the-art air filtration systems. Atlas Survival Shelters are the most popular private survival shelters in the world. Call 1-855-4BUNKER now or visit atlassurvivalshelters.com.
Free Talk Live.
We're talking about piracy.
The Barbary pirates were attacking American merchant ships and taking the sailors into slavery.
Yep.
Which is a little worse than conscribing them like England was. England was just making them, do a little bit of work. I mean, certainly was slavery, but to a much lesser extent.
Did they get the doubloons? Is what I want. Avast.
When somebody from the Sudan takes you into slavery, you're in slavery.
Yeah.
I mean, that's slavery in its rawest sense. Mm-hmm. So he sent over the Navy in order, was it?
Well, that's the risk you take on the high seas.
Trying to think this famous American pirate, but I can't remember his name offhand.
Blackbeard.
Now
Redbeard.
No.
Goldbeard. Maroonbeard.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want. Just dial toll-free and join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype at Skype username LRN.FM.
So I got the Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app, and it walked me right through the easy setup. And even with my router system, which is uncommonly complicated, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now, Ian, you were setting yours up today. How long did it take you to pair once you had the app downloaded, how long did it take to pair the phone to the app?
Few minutes, not long.
Yeah, not long at all. And now you can view your stuff through the camera anytime you want. You can pull it up right now if that's what you wanted to do. It also sends you alerts if, for whatever reason, some motion occurs in front of the camera. Is that correct?
I haven't the slightest clue, Mark. I literally set this up right before the show, so it sounds believable.
That's what happens, because I can tell you, I get it all the time. You have this option to schedule what goes on. So, if, for instance, you decide to put cameras up in your house and you're away at work or something like that, and you don't expect somebody to be in the house between, 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., and there's some movement in the house, you'll get an alert. Bang. You can then look at the video. It'll give you the option of 5 seconds, 30 seconds, however long you want. See what might have set off the alert. Maybe the bird got out of its cage. I don't know what could have possibly have happened. But or maybe there's a burglar in the house. You can then turn on the camera, and you can watch what's going on as you speed towards your house or call the police or whatever it is you're doing. And it's a great system. This is all you have to do to take advantage. We got you a great deal, by the way. You can get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys will charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. So 10% off and 3 Blink cams. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL for the deal. blinkprotect.com/FTL to get 10% off and 3 cams. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
All right, our toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE like freedom. Let's continue with your calls and thoughts. We're going to go to Rick, who is on the line with us here from Tennessee on Skype. Hello, Rick.
Yeah, hey, Ian.
Hey, welcome.
Hey, Mark and Vincent.
Thanks.
Hey, I've been an amplifier for a couple of years, been listening for probably 6 or 7 years.
Gosh, thanks.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, it's a great show. I love it all. I'm a Bitcoin owner. I'm a Bitcoin miner through pool.bitcoin.com.
Pool.bitcoin.com. Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
One of the things that I've thought, it's Bitcoin's decentralized, not government controlled. But what if agents in the federal government set up a buy of Bitcoin? If they just spent all their time buying Bitcoin all the time, and they built up all this Bitcoin, could they not destabilize the Bitcoin world?
Well, I mean, the Bitcoin price is already, a little unstable. I mean, it shot up, $200 today alone? It's been a big day for Bitcoin. If they just started buying up Bitcoin, then we'd all get really rich because the price would go up.
Yeah, but could they not buy it all up and then, I don't know,
not spend it?
Hold it. Yeah, not spend it, do anything with it.
Well, the more they buy, the higher the price will go.
So let me address the issue. Yes, that is true, Ian. The more they buy, the higher the price will go, and then you'll have less of it out there. The demand, the supply will be lower, and the demand will presumably stay about the same. Is that correct, Stephen?
There's no Stephen here.
I'm sorry,
Rick.
Terribly sorry, Rick.
Yeah.
I guess I'd written something else down. So the demand would stay approximately the same, and the supply would go down. So you'd have a higher price. Secondarily, I heard this at one point that I think it was if you had only 10 Bitcoins left, that you'd still have enough Bitcoin. Do you still have enough Satoshis to give one to every person in the world or something to that effect?
That's the Satoshi is the smallest unit of a Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is divided down by 8 decimal points, so that is the 8th of those 8 decimal points.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many Satoshis are in one Bitcoin. I know I had it figured out at one point, but it's like 1 million. Is that right?
That sounds right. Yeah, 8 decimal points.
Yeah, so there's
that's 6 decimal points.
Is that 6?
Million is 6.
Okay, so you've got quite a bit
million?
of sort of, if you were to have 1,000 or maybe 10,000 of the 12 million Bitcoins that were left, you would have enough Bitcoins to sort of, do some business. But I would think most likely what would happen would be that if they actually killed off Bitcoin by buying it all up and made it to the point that it was just less usable because there was less of it around, they just go to Dash, or they just go to Bitcoin Cash, or they just go to something else, and then you'd have a technology upgrade, which is one of the things that worries me the most about cryptocurrencies. Is currently the one that has frankly, the old one, the Model T of cryptocurrencies, is the one that everybody wants right now.
That's right. It's not $4,100 a Bitcoin.
Not the DeLorean, not the Tesla of Bitcoin.
Nobody wants a DeLorean.
The DeLorean at one point was pretty cool performance type stuff. Anyway, as far as it had the gull wings.
It wasn't performance, dude.
No,
have you ever driven one of those things? It's like garbage.
It was slow.
I want a Camaro.
It was neat, and but it was certainly better technology than the Model T, right?
It had the cool wing doors on it.
The gull wing doors, yeah. But it was still, even if those
no
doors
doubt.
were,
It was better than the Model T.
nailed shut and you had to crawl through the window, it was still a better car than the Model T.
Yes,
and
I'll give you that.
That's what concerns me is that
you could buff out any of the scratches on it. Buff it right out.
Right, it was stainless steel, wasn't it?
Stainless steel.
Right.
So what were you going with that, Mark?
Just saying that if A, there's enough Bitcoin around with just 10,000 Bitcoins, and B, if there wasn't, they just go on to another crypto.
I think your conspiracy theory, Mark, that the government could somehow outmine, or at some point could have outmined the rest of the Bitcoin network if they put enough money and investment into mining operations, and then maybe do a 51% attack on Bitcoin, would have been the best. That's the best kind of this could have happened theory, but it's very unlikely that it could happen.
Right now we're at 16,600 or so Bitcoins mined. There's still
16 million. 16 million.
I mean, I'm sorry, 16 million. So if they bought every Bitcoin from now on, which is impossible, but if they did, that would be a big chunk in the blockchain. And I've never.
It wouldn't matter.
I don't know how many of the Bitcoins that exist today could ever be used. Many of the first blocks that were mined by Satoshi, the blocks that were first mined by Satoshi Nakamoto, what we believe to be mined by Satoshi Nakamoto, have never moved. The guy that claims to be Satoshi Nakamoto, that Craig whatever,
yeah,
they've never moved. Apparently that guy doesn't need money. There's I know that my wife did, but I was, there on site and I didn't do anything to stop it, sent 63 Bitcoin to nowhere. We sent it to a dead address that we no longer had the private keys for. And it's gone. And, there's nothing you can do. I have a friend whom Ian knows who has lost the password. He still has the computer. He still has everything about it, but he lost the password to 1,000 Bitcoins.
Oh, jeez.
There's a lot of Bitcoin out there that is just...
It's lost.
Yeah.
Can't be retrieved.
Those 50 blocks that Satoshi was mining like every 12 and a half minutes or whatever. There are tens of thousands of Bitcoins out there that he has. I would presume that there's probably half the Bitcoins currently don't have owners, would be my guess.
Yeah.
Just a wild guess.
I think that the biggest, if we're going to be concerned about government's effects on Bitcoin, the biggest concern is their regulations of Bitcoin-related businesses, as we've seen in New York State,
agree.
And what might be happening in Washington State. Rick, thanks for your call tonight, man. I appreciate you bringing that one up.
Hey, I miss Will Coley. He was from my hometown.
Well, Will Coley is coming on Friday night, so make sure you're tuned in then. He's going to be sitting in for Chris, who's normally here with us on Friday nights. Right. And thanks for the call tonight.
Guys.
All right, more coming up here, 855, 450, free like freedom. Join us on Free Talk Live. Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
If your dog has shedding, dry skin, excessive scratching, I would recommend Dynavite.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dynavite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
How did you become addicted? A friend? Were you at a party and someone said, "Hey, try this"? Then you got the cold sweats and started shaking. And the more you did it, the more it didn't work. So you switched to the needle. Now you're a train wreck. Drinking, drugging, broke. Your family hates you. And you hate you. Get out of your hell on earth now. Call the Detox and Treatment Helpline today for immediate help. In many cases, your insurance may cover the costs. We can't guarantee it, but we can guarantee we have what you need to change your life for the better. Pick up your cell phone and call right now. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. That's 855-700-2979.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can't do that, and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey.
Who do you think you are?
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make
Wait a minute.
Forget it.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
If you're a
Democrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Bring up anything in these remaining moments. We have enough time for you, maybe, if you call now. 855-450, free like freedom. 855-450-3733. And Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM. You can catch the show live anytime, or not live anytime, but live 7 to 10 at night Eastern Time. But anytime you want, you can go later and watch the video version of the show over at youtube.freetalklive.com. That's also where we stream live during the live hours. And, of course, you can grab our archives and podcast all over at freetalklive.com. Live streaming audio, we've got that too. Satellite-delivered audio in Sub-Saharan Africa, North America, Central America, we've got that as well. So head over to freetalklive.com and you can get tuned in there, however works best for you. And if you want to help support our satellite feed, then please join the Patreon. We had a gentleman join up there recently. It's slow going on the Patreon, but I don't really talk about it a whole lot. It is still an important program. It is a way for you, if you value Free Talk Live and you value the other great liberty-oriented talk shows that we have on LRN.FM, then you can get behind the delivery method that allows people in some very, very poor parts of the world where some very oppressive governments exist. If you want to get those people turned on to the ideas of liberty, this is a way you can do it for $2 a month. And that's what you can do by going to the Patreon, which you can access over at fund.lrn.fm, F-U-N-D, fund.lrn.fm. Let's go to Nathan. He's in Texas on Skype. Hello, Nathan. Do we have Nathan?
Hey, Ian. Hey, Mark. Hey, Vincent.
Hey. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I wanted to welcome Vincent back to the show. Nice to hear from you.
Thank you.
I actually had an interesting topic that I found while I was in the library. Did you know that there is a voluntarist society that exists right now, and you can move to right now if you wanted to?
Yes, it's called the Shire Society. You can go to shiresociety.com. You can sign the Shire Society Declaration, and you can move to New Hampshire.
I mean a geographical area with no government. Literally no government.
You're talking about Liberland?
Right do you want to know where it is?
Liberland?
No. Think north. Think the Arctic Circle. I was hoping Vincent might know a little bit about this topic.
Svalbard?
But I picked up a book on the Eskimo. No, the Inuit, the Eskimo. I picked up a book on them while I was at the library, and as far as I can tell, they have a completely decentralized legal order. Like any kind of disputes are basically, they're resolved on an ad hoc basis based on what people sort of come to a consensus about.
Yeah, I can't say I know much about it.
Well, like for example, I mean, obviously there's the population density is so low, so you can't really have any kind of formal governing body. It's more like, tribes of extended families. But I happened to read the section about, well, what happens if, John murders, Tom, or, what kind of thing happens. And it's sort of like if someone kills someone else or commits some kind of, crime, it creates an expectation that the victim's family, could take some kind of vengeance for that. And basically any time someone is killed, there's this expectation is created. But there are circumstances. So, like if enough time passes and, people think you were kind of justified in doing it, then they might not retaliate. But, it's kind of an informal legal order.
All right. But as you've said, it's a very sort of distributed society. People aren't really concentrated in one place, which means that they have to do things a little differently compared to the way things normally operate.
Do they have Walmarts?
Exactly, and you'll also be pleased to know that they don't have Walmarts. They have caribou and seal blubber. But the other thing I noticed is that they practice polyamory, which I know Ian might. I don't know if you're interested in that kind of thing.
No,
but
I'm not.
There goes the civilization.
Not really.
They have flexibility in marital arrangements. You can have monogamy.
So are you going to sign up and join them? Can they? Do they accept outsiders?
You can rub noses.
That the book did not say. I'm assuming you would have to, convince them to let you join their tribe out there in the Arctic. There's actually 3 different groups. I don't know if Vincent, you know anything about them.
And he's bringing you up because you're from Quebec.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about.
That's a little further north, right? The Inuits.
Yes, very. Yeah, I don't know anything about the Inuits. Aren't
they from Nunavut? What is?
Oh, yeah. What was it? Why do they call it Nunavut? Because when they ask how much of this land is usable, the natives replied none of it. Yukon, Northwestern Territories. No, I always thought about moving there.
Really?
I didn't know.
They got a neat license plate.
But it's obviously south of the Arctic Circle.
Wait, the Inuits have license plates?
The Nunavut is a territory, and it has a license plate.
Okay.
It's a polar bear.
Gotcha.
The shape of a polar
Nathan,
bear.
thanks for the call tonight. Toll-free number.
If you're going to go, bring liquor and cigarettes. They're easy to bargain with.
855-450-FREE like freedom. 855-450-3733.
Yeah, marijuana is like $7.50 an ounce up there too. So
is that cheap?
That's $750
an ounce.
Yeah, that's expensive. All right, let's go to Scott. He's in Massachusetts. Scott, the bigot, I believe. Go ahead. You probably hate Eskimos, don't you, Scott?
Excuse me, Ian. They're called Inuit, you bigot. They prefer to be called Inuit.
I don't know. He's not there. Hello, Scott.
That's the Commonwealth of Nunavut. Scott
going once. Scott going twice. Bye-bye. Sarah in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Hello.
Yes, I think there was a reason why New Mexico always had high crime rate. Well, the state was settled by all the murderers and criminals like 150 years ago. So they would.
I thought that was Rhode Island.
Mexico,
No, absolutely.
No,
Rhode Island is not Rogue's Island.
Is that a myth?
Yes.
Well, it's Australia where they had all the criminals.
That's
a penal
true,
colony.
isn't it? Australia was a penal
colony?
colony?
Georgia. Georgia was a penal colony.
So are you saying criminality is a gene passed down, Sarah?
You know what? That's exactly what I believe. That's what I was getting to.
So should we exterminate the criminals?
It's a generation.
Sarah Duterte.
That's what I was talking about, is that we have generations that were grandparents for criminals and thieves and murderers and all. So then the great-grandkids are criminals. And the laws here have been shaped to help out the criminals. The whole thing is twisted for the criminals.
Laws are put in place to protect the guilty because, the fact is that, groups of people are always going to exact vengeance on somebody whom they believe to be guilty. So, yes, that's the idea. The idea is to diminish the use of the death penalty and further to make sure that innocent people get a fair trial.
Well, the colonies, like the 13 colonies, they were all civilized, but over here was still wild, wild west, and our laws are very saturated. Still to this day, it's like leftover from 150 years ago where it favors the
What do you think we could do to solve this, Sarah?
About the whole New Mexico?
Well, I don't know.
The only solution is, when all of the other lands like Florida, they all sink. They have no place to go. They're going to have to come to New Mexico. the civilized people, and I think this will get civilized again.
So you're counting on global warming to save you?
No, it's the polar change. I don't believe in the global warming. I
you believe in the polar
polarity
change, not global warming?
Right. The reason that they're sinking is because the poles are switching. I think the North Pole is going to go down to be a South Pole.
Yep.
So, like
it could take
the Mississippi River
1,000 years for that to happen. It could.
Nibiru would take care of us before then.
It's happening right now.
It is happening right now. But happening right now, in that same sense, Florida is sinking right now. I mean, that doesn't mean that in our lifetimes it will sink, nor in our lifetimes will the pole switch, necessarily.
Well, it's slowly switching. The poles are already at Moscow. When it completely switches, the Mississippi River is going to go slowly backwards.
I'm not sure that's true.
Whoa. That would be amazing. Is that what they told you on Coast to Coast AM?
Water isn't magnetic.
Well, people are talking about it, but when the pole switch is going to flow the other way, and it's going to be like 10 times wider.
No.
And so I think the New Mexico might get civilized.
At least she's not a flat earther.
If that's the case, you
got to give her that.
If that's the case, then why does the Amazon River flow from the inland to the sea?
But you know what? I don't know what's going to happen to the Amazon River. That's what I was only told about. Mississippi is going to be
No. What you were told about the Mississippi was BS. And what I'm trying to do is show you why it's BS. Because the Amazon River and all the rivers in the southern hemisphere, which the pole switch, right? Then the southern hemisphere becomes the northern hemisphere from a magnetic standpoint. All the rivers do the same thing down there as they do up here.
Thank you for the call, Sarah. Out of time tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. You can join us online. In the meantime, head on over to freetalklive.com, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, September 27th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.80 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,287 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,087. Antiwar.com reports Turkey's foreign minister on Tuesday warned that every option is on the table for dealing with Iraqi Kurdistan's independence vote and that they are considering a joint military operation with the Iraqi central government against the Kurds. Iran chimed in shortly thereafter, saying they're eager to stand with both Iraq and Turkey to rule out any possible secession of the Kurds. Top Khomeini advisor Ali Akbar Velayati termed the secession bid an abhorrent deviation, adding that the region would not allow the creation of a second Israel. Iraqi officials have not directly addressed the possibility of military action against the Kurds, though the Iraqi parliament has approved the deployment of military into areas contested by the Kurdistan regional government. It's long been feared Kurdistan's independence would mean a fight. Kurdish officials have spent the last several years building up the Peshmerga into a substantial U.S. armed fighting force, though it's not at all clear they could hold their own against three nations at once. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan was a lot more direct about what is being discussed here, warning that the secession attempt could lead to an ethnic war on the region against the Kurds. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Puerto Rico's main airport has effectively been crippled by Hurricane Maria, leaving travelers stranded as they try to get off the island. Because of a lack of electrical power, planes at Luis Marin Munoz International Airport are limited to takeoffs during daylight, meaning most passengers can't depart the island. Planes carrying disaster relief are arriving at the airport. All reservations are being confirmed through a phone line to Miami, and hundreds of departing passengers were waiting at the airport in stifling heat. Computers used to manage boarding passes and luggage were out of order 5 days after the hurricane struck the island. The Federal Aviation Administration said most of the airport's radar and navigation equipment damaged by the storm is now operational. It added that one long-range radar site atop a mountain will be unusable until workers with chainsaws can cut their way through 2 miles of debris and down trees. It's unclear how long it might take before the airport can resume normal operations. Officials have previously said it could take a month to restore all the power to Puerto Rico. San Juan Mayor Carmen Yulín Cruz told CNN, "We're finding dialysis patients that haven't been able to contact their providers, so we're having to transport them in near-death conditions. We're finding people with oxygen tanks running out because small generators now don't have any diesel." House Speaker Paul Ryan on Tuesday promised aid to the 3.5 million residents of the U.S. territory, which was completely left without electricity. Speaker Ryan said, "This has been a devastating hurricane. This is a humanitarian crisis. The images and stories coming out of the island have been heartbreaking and devastating. This is our country, and these are our citizens. They need help, and they're going to get help. I want the people of Puerto Rico to know we are in this with them," adding that Congress will act when President Donald Trump sends in an aid request. The Speaker's promises come as Democratic leaders are critical of Trump for what they see as an inadequate response to the devastation in Puerto Rico. Among them is former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, who suggested on Tuesday that the U.S. Navy get involved in relief efforts. The U.S. Coast Guard does have 9 ships in the vicinity of Puerto Rico. A satellite view of Puerto Rico at night dramatically showed that very few areas of the island have electrical power. Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Readers rejoice. This week, Amazon unveiled the Kindle Flair, the latest model of their popular e-reader. The improved device has the ability to loudly and repeatedly announce the title of the book you're reading so everyone knows how smart you are.
Breakfast of Champions by Kurt Vonnegut.
The hot new e-reader includes a massive catalog of titles, a sleek, easy-to-use interface, and a loud, clear voice that barks the name and author of your book on a loop. Amazon says the repetitive shouting is a small feature that makes a big difference. Readers say that with crystal clear 150 decibel stereo speakers, the Flair provides the most conspicuous reading experience yet. When you're not reading, the Flair automatically switches into bookshelf mode, which conserves power and reads off a list of everything on your Kindle.
Blink by Malcolm Gladwell, a confederacy of dunces.
And Amazon's competition has also stepped up their game as Apple released a new iPad that whispers, "I have an iPad," over and over again.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
As President of the United States, I will always put America first. Just like you, as the leaders of your country, will always and should always put your country first. As long as I hold this office, I will defend America's interests above all else. In America, we do not seek to impose our way of life on anyone, but rather to let it shine as an example for everyone to watch. The United States has great strength and patience, but if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime. The United States is ready, willing and able, but hopefully this will not be necessary.
All right. Good morning, America and the Freedom's Phoenix community. That was our fearless leader, Donald J. Trump, threatening North Korea and the New World Order, that there's a new player in town. That's Donald Trump and the American people. This is Dr. Frank Tambori sitting in for the infamous Ernest Hancock on Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock, Freedom's Phoenix. So where's Ernie? Well, he's escaping this music, I'm probably sure. He's actually up in Colorado, in Aspen. Some of you who've been listening to the show for a while know where Ernest is at. He's along with Tim Picciott and basically the who's who roster of the Freedom Liberty movement. For those of you that are new or just kind of tune in once a week for the Trump Report, which is today, and that is the Nexus Conference, the Nexus Convention Conference, the inaugural. It's the first. They're up in Aspen, and we're going to talk to Ernie probably in the third hour. We're going to talk to hopefully Tim and Ernie, get some updates of that conference. That's sort of the who's who, as I said. We have Dr. Ron Paul and Jesse Ventura and Judge Napolitano, and I mean the list goes. Peter Schiff. Dennis Kucinich, putting him in that roster there. But we're going to have a whole bunch of people. And if it wasn't for my little girl, Phaedra, I'd probably be up there joining them. The kicker is it's a few dollars. It's like $600-700 to get up there, or for the ticket for the weekend, plus the airfare, plus time off if you happen to be self-employed, plus the food. And it's Aspen, so there's the Aspen tax. But the kicker is, I'll bet you for most people going there, it's free, or relatively speaking. Why? Because the number one talk of the town there and the point of the conference, at least it's centering around, the nexus of the conference is cryptocurrency. Hence why Tim's up there. And, of course, if it's cryptocurrency and the leaders and movers and shakers are there, that means most everybody didn't pay a damn dollar. They just converted probably 0.0001 of their Bitcoin collection, and the whole thing's probably paid for. So, especially recently, if you bought it for $100 and it's at 4,000 or whatever it is now, despite what the bankers are trying to do to co-opt it. In any case, we're going to touch base with them in a little bit, maybe in the third hour. So we have a full show today of the Trump Report. There's the nexus. We have Donald Trump giving the speech of his career, the speech that I think many people who put this guy in have been salivating, dying to hear. Now, maybe not all the community hearing Freedom's Phoenix who just want to say, hey, just get the heck out of not just the UN, but all the countries, and let's just pull back like Dr. Ron Paul said. But for those of us that have been waiting for someone to have a backbone to speak in clear speaking terms, this was a speech to be heralded, and it's astounding. You know how good it is? Let me tell you how good this speech was. Those of you who haven't heard it, it's 40 minutes long. It goes by quick. It is, you have to check it out.